things like that.
Tom is very good about getting to what the listeners are going to want, and whatever calls come in.
Well, usually when somebody's like, tell me about your program, usually my jaw drops on my phone. Tell me about you. What's going on? Why are you here?
But listen, man, just so you know, we don't do a one-topic show. You know that. They explain that, right? Because it's not going to serve anybody. There's no way we can make a show out of that. But the fact that you're here, let me explain. This really means a lot if you just trust me. Okay. The fact that you're here means that you're a person and you're associated with this place. So believe it or not, if you just have fun with us and you're a person, that puts a name and a face to what you do, and you actually get benefits from it, even if we don't talk about everything you do.
Yes. Well, yeah, and that's where I was kind of saying. What's your name?
Dan.
To Dan is, I've never had good luck explaining the program to somebody, but just by dialoguing is what really seems to like sell.
So you get it. Yeah. That's all I want you to know. That you're not going to get it the other way. It's going to be mostly this way. This is actually the benefit to you being a person. Yeah, cool. This makes you a person.
And if you want to talk about cars, I love cars.
Feel free, like Tom says, to jump in if you got a...
Daphne said you guys do some work with maybe is it car repair stores?
Oh, many things.
Yeah.
Fridays are normal holiday.
Oh, cool.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Oh, I forgot.
And Tom.
Do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome to the only show of its kind anywhere in the universe where we are fighting for you and making your life just a little easier. All you have to do is call. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on iHeartRadio, the app, and all you have to do is call our number. 303-MARTINO is the national 24/7 number. 24/7, literally. You call, and we put you on the show. If you call us with a problem we can help you with, or we call you back, or we research it. And if we are on the air, you are automatically routed to us at 303-MARTINO. Meanwhile, you can call the radio show here at my flagship radio station. We have our flagship KHOW in Denver, and we have KRDO in Colorado Springs. Hello, everyone. Our number is 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. And we'll talk about your problems, your questions, and your complaints. Whatever you'd like to talk about. We solve problems and literally recover millions of dollars for people in cash, merchandise, exchanges, refunds, and services. A special guest today. Every day we have a special guest from the referral list to sit in and just say hi. We also talk about what they do, but we never have a one-topic show. However, if you have any questions, this is the time to do it. It's a really weird topic. And, you know, it's hard because it's not, you know, when I do commercials for, as you know, professionals, attorneys, and I do commercials for doctors and for, like, stem cell therapy or you know, BioT, hormone optimization. I really believe in this stuff. That's why I do it. One thing I truly believe in, over the years, we've had so many addicts call us, and we've helped them. Actually, we really did. We've helped people, and so we took on a client, and we wanted to help them help addicts. So it's called the Raleigh House. Several locations in the metro area. I say several, 3 or 4. And then they started here in Denver on Raleigh Street. They're the name. And I've known Eric for years because he's always had a heart for this field of endeavor. He even came up with supplements and stuff years ago that he believed help people with cravings for drugs and alcohol. So Eric is here, Eric Lapp, and he runs the Raleigh House. He started this on his own. Rehabilitation is not controversial. Types of rehabilitation have gotten to be controversial. You'll have, unfortunately, in the field of rehabilitation, you'll have people with, I think, good intentions, but different approaches. Now, some have downright approaches that some consider quackery. So I warn you, when you get into looking for a rehab center, just beware of the different kinds. Beware. There are no shortcuts. Okay? There might be a rapid detox. You may have heard of that. But that doesn't help you in the future. Or you may have heard of infusions of minerals and vitamins and this kind of stuff. I'm not talking against any one thing. I'm just saying that there can't be one thing. That's the sad truth. You can't just have a quick fix, a rapid detox. I mean, I've seen people advertising in California, you go away for a weekend and supposedly you're done. And then they give you a pill that supposedly you'll never need to use again. Eric, have you seen those? I don't know where you stand on rapid detox. By the way, we never rehearse what we're going to say. I don't even know how you stand on rapid detox.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, by the way. Yeah, you know, I thought in the beginning that a rapid detox was going to be something where, I had always hoped there would be a magic pill or something that would just come in and save the day. But as you look at addiction and mental health issues closely, it really is, there's 100 different ways to treat addiction. And I truly believe that there is no one-size-shoe-fits-all. There's not one pill that's going to save somebody from this, especially if you're dealing with strong mental health issues, you're dealing with entitlement, you're dealing with sociological issues.
I think one thing we can agree on, there's no shortcut.
No shortcut.
It's a lifelong journey. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't look at addiction as a lifelong sentence. I mean, I do believe you can get over it. But all addiction is, and by the way, we will take your calls on consumer problems, I promise. I'll do that in a few minutes here. And we're going to talk about insurance as it pertains to Lyft and Uber. We had some questions on that. But I just want to say something about rehab and about drug use and all that. I believe addiction is nothing more than somebody trying to feel good, to self-medicate. I don't believe they're a bunch of lousy, good-for-nothing bums trying to get high and drop out of society. I don't think that's their intent. I truly think they just want to feel good. They want to feel normal. That's what I think. I don't know. Am I right? Or are they is there a segment of the addiction that are just a bunch of feel-goods?
I would agree. I think people use drugs and alcohol
to feel good.
To feel good, to soothe themselves from the things that they're having a hard time tolerating.
And some of them want to feel normal.
Absolutely.
They just want to feel normal. So we will take your calls. If you're an addict and you want to call, or you are someone with an addict in your family, you can ask any questions you want. There are no off-base questions. Look, we have to have the truth anyway, okay? No matter what. The truth is always going to be the right thing. Because there are no off-base questions. We won't talk about individuals by name, okay? But you can ask anything you want. 303-713-TALK. Now let me go to the phones. Thank you, by the way, Eric, for being here. The Raleigh House will be giving out their contact information, but you can always find them on the referral list, referralist.com. Jeremy is with Compass Insurance Group. Jeremy, we cut off the show yesterday. We were talking about insurance. And so many people now are driving for Lyft and they're driving for Uber. If they're a Lyft or Uber driver and they're just driving around on their own, they have insurance on their car. Their insurance will cover them. But when they are picking up passengers, their own insurance won't cover them. Is that right?
Yeah, the gap in the coverage is when their app is on before they accept a fare. So that's what they call period one.
So Lyft and Uber will cover their drivers when someone is in the car.
That's our understanding. The coverage that we can add to our policies specifically adds coverage for that period one, when the app is on and they're driving, before they actually accept the fare.
Because
period two
is when they have a fare.
Period two is when they're on the way to pick up the fare, is our understanding of it, and then period three is when the fare is actually in the car.
Okay, so when the fare is in the car, when the person is in the car, the customer is in the car, Lyft and Uber have their own insurance, right?
Correct.
Who covers the property damage?
Right, and the liability.
Okay, so in other words, if someone slams into me while I have a person in my car as a Lyft driver, does Uber or Lyft, do they offer property damage insurance as well as liability?
Our understanding is that they do. Yeah, the coverage on our policy stops once they accept the
passenger.
Drive. So not even when they have the person in the car, but when they're on their way to pick that person up is when our policy stops.
Really? But so
we can add coverage. Our policy technically stops when their app is on.
You're saying our policy. You mean a normal consumer policy ends
correct
when someone turns on the app.
When someone turns on the app, that's when coverage stops. We can add a supplement coverage that adds coverage while the app is on. And then our understanding is Uber and Lyft's coverage kicks in once the driver accepts the job, basically, and is on their way to pick the customer up, and then obviously when the customer...
What about pizza delivery?
Yeah, technically, no. A lot of companies do not want that. So we definitely have specific companies that it would be eligible with, but in general, that's something typically insurance companies don't want.
All right, so Uber and Lyft, your coverage or normal consumer coverage that Compass Insurance provides stops when the app is on, and Uber and Lyft usually picks up when there's a fare in the car, when there's a person, but that gap in coverage is when you're on your way to pick someone up.
Yes, and
okay.
You really, the best thing to do is talk to your insurance agent, let them know you're doing it, and make sure you're with the company that has that supplement coverage, because it's cheap. I mean, it's $20 a year, $30 a year.
For that gap insurance?
Yeah, it's not much. The kick is just finding companies that offer it, because more companies than don't, or more companies than not, don't offer it right now. And, 5 years from now, I'd suspect practically every company will. But at this point, we have, I think, two or three.
I have now another question, very, very technical. Okay, I'm an insured driver. I'm using Uber. Somebody picks me up. Will my med pay or will my insurance cover me? Me, as a person.
The med pay specifically?
Yeah, well, let's take med pay first.
It could potentially. What would typically happen is the driver's insurance would, or Uber's insurance would be the primary. If there's some sort of gap there, you could potentially... MedPay continues to feel like it's an expanding coverage, but it would not be the primary that would cover you in that scenario.
Okay. What other insurance that I have would cover me? Any other car insurance would cover me while
Not any other car insurance. The only insurance that would potentially cover you is the MedPay, but the primary would be the driver's insurance, or in an Uber situation would probably be Uber's insurance that would be primary on that.
Okay.
And there's nothing else on your policy, because your policy is liability. There's not a liability issue if you're a passenger.
Okay.
And property damage on your car wouldn't obviously apply there either.
All right. Now, Jeremy, I thought if an insurance carrier wanted to change the industry and get rich, and I'm serious, I mean, they're all rich anyway, but has this ever been discussed in the industry? I'm sure I'm not giving away any industry secrets. Let's say I don't drive a lot. Or let's say it might even cover boats or even airplanes. And I am going to rent an airplane, or I'm going to drive a motorcycle or drive a boat. They're doing this with drones right now, where I can go onto an app and activate a policy for the period I'm operating and then turn it off, and I pay for the coverage for that period in time. Now, think about that. With today's society, a lot of people are using cars to go. They're using different modes of transportation. They're even renting a lot. And now there are cars that, you drop off in the street somewhere and you pick up in the street somewhere that you can rent. Do you ever foresee, has the industry ever discussed that kind of coverage? On-demand coverage. On-demand coverage, basically.
I would suspect that will become more prevalent as time goes on and the need arises for it. Your standard, typical kind of old school insurance in general has to make adjustments for the changing times. So what happens typically in anything, even Uber and Lyft, is something new happens that they've never had to address before. There'll typically be a couple companies that want to take the reins on that, and then everyone else will sit tight and see how it goes. And if it goes smooth, then everyone jumps on board. And so as that evolves for different needs, like you suggested, I certainly think there'll be companies that pick up on that and try and separate themselves from the pack.
Thank you very much. That's Compass Insurance Group, 303-996-9000, 996-9000. We have a lot more coming up. I want to tell you about One Clear Choice Garage Door from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs. If you need a garage door help, you can do no better than One Clear Choice. Whether you have a broken spring, you wake up and see it, or you just want to have your door checked out, or you want a new opener starting at as little as $299 with Wi-Fi. 303-565-6409, OneClearChoiceDoors.com.
This report is brought to you by Way to Go.
Delays on the north end of town due to a crash on southbound I-25 approaching 120. It looks like the left
Dan, everything up and running?
Everything's good. This camera just is kind of dark. This one here. Everything else looks okay.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm just going to turn the lights on just to see if that does it. And then I'll show them. Is that bright or what?
Yeah, really. So on live.
Yep. And that's that's when you talk, I swing that camera for you. I can show you what it looks like here.
Oh, cool.
You want to talk more directly into the mic instead of the side of the mic, like Tom does. Okay. So directly on like this.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
Very good.
Hey, how?
Hey there,
So that's the view. So this is Tom. That's you right there. And then that's your van right there. So there's a little delay. So if you run real quick, you can see what you look like on that, or you can pull it up and that. And then that's got the audio when it's to go to commercials and stuff. So I just kind of switch that back and forth. Okay, cool. So everything else is like that. And like the headphones are everything is on radio. Cool.
Very good. Very good.
You
guys got a lot of equipment in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of this. This is the board op over there.
What is this?
The board operator. He, like I say, keeps track of everything, plays the music as it comes on.
Yep.
And then Daphne over here, they do the calls calling in. Yep. And then they put it, as far as on the board, and then Tom takes what he wants there. But the different cameras, these are actually better cameras. That one, we're going to get these mounted permanently later. So we got that one, we got one in there, and then we got this is a portable.
Cool. More information
Portable one.
and
And then
please
that's
schedule
the
training
also.
camp dates. Visit denverbroncos.com/training.
You Denver native?
Nope, Minnesota.
Oh, very good. Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we was out there.
and much more at
About 6 months ago, I had a group out of Minnesota on the Byline program.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was out there.
The cities or?
In where was that? Yeah, I was in the city, and then it all happened so fast. We were all seeing all their locations.
Other cameras are good because they adjust to the light. It's just this one is definitely better with the light there. So, but the rest of the cameras look good with or without the light because it's just maybe not as clear as with the light, but they're still good.
Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy delivering generic sildenafil to your door. For information on sildenafil, go to marleygenerics.com or call us at 800-85-36375. That number again, 800-85.
I'll bet you pizza drivers never take insurance.
Are you retired or planning for
Yeah.
retirement? Retirees have lots of financial
But you
questions,
very
and you
few
need to
ever
make
say
lots
they're
of decisions.
delivering
You want to get them right.
They don't pay hardly
I'm
anything
Linda
for
Garner,
mileage.
host of Your Money, Your Retirement, every Saturday on
Yeah,
6:30
but they're caught.
You're invited
Right.
to attend my
Right.
free retirement
For not having like a
classes.
commercial policy of sorts. Yeah.
Most commercial policies are expensive.
Taxes
God, we
to
pay an
regular
arm and a leg.
retirement. If you've saved a lot for
For all of our
retirement, taxes
commercial
could be your
vehicles, they're
largest
expensive,
expense.
especially because we have a
What
bunch
can
of
you do
individuals,
to reduce your
clients in the
taxes?
car.
And the second class, 7 retirement threats in the state.
When you think about a
to avoid.
pizza delivery
So you can
driver,
outlive
you
your
know, they're
money.
usually
In
not
these
too
classes,
advanced
I'll
yet
share important
in their
concepts and
career,
questions
so they wouldn't
you
even
can
think to be
consider
insured
to
other
make the
than
right
just
decisions.
as vehicle
There's
insurance.
no way they could afford, little money in it for pizza unless they do it,
And I'll see you on
awful
Saturday
lot.
morning, August 12th. For more
I don't know what they
information,
get
go
for
to
mileage, but I bet you it's not 50 cents a
registercolorado.com.
mile.
That's registercolorado.com. Or
And
call
everything short trips in
720-488-8604.
traffic usually and
That's
stuff, so it's
720
It's not like it's a long haul.
Nothing is more important than your health. Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of
When I delivered pizzas when I was young,
Oh, you did?
we did the big map and a book. Now it's probably a new ballgame because we got GPS.
Sure, so easier. And you're right, when you have the big map and stuff, you're always looking around. It's a lot tougher and stuff.
Yeah.
My sister delivered pizza and she had an accident. And the insurance covered it, but my dad made her quit. Because it was he was paying his insurance. Insurance company covered it though.
Yeah, you know, insurance is cracking down too much if you get in an accident and they ask if you have any pizzas in the car.
Yeah. What do you mean? I was eating.
Water. Doesn't matter, it's just water. There's some paper towels back there.
Oh, good.
Mark was here, he'd be laughing.
Then he's filled when he didn't do it yesterday.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the only show of its kind anywhere in the universe where we are fighting for you. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. The Raleigh House is with us, a rehab center, a rehab clinic, rehab house. What do you call it? Rehabilitation what? What do you call it? Program?
Yeah, we're drug and alcohol treatment
How
center.
many? 4 locations?
5 locations.
5?
Yeah.
The newest one is where?
The newest one is in Arvada, which is our corporate office.
Didn't you say there was one rural or something you were starting?
Yeah, we're working on a 50-bed facility.
So that'll be a 6th
on the
one?
Eastern Plains. Yeah.
That'll be a 6th one?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How bad is the problem? Do you stay at capacity?
We do. You know, the problem is bad, but funding is also a difficult issue.
Does insurance cover it?
Insurance covers it if you have private insurance.
Medicaid won't?
Medicaid doesn't really cover much for substance abuse. There's certainly programs out there, and I would recommend somebody that has Medicaid to get to one of those programs if they're struggling with an issue.
All right. If you have any questions, give us a call, please, and we'll cover some of the major issues. 303-713-8255. Larry, what's going on with you? Hello, Larry.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for taking my call.
What's going on?
Well, I try to be a really smart consumer. I try to do my investigations and make sure I do things right. But I got blindsided yesterday when I got a phone call from my sister in Aurora saying she had locked herself and her 8-year-old daughter out of her house and wanted to know if I would drive up to unlock her door. I live down in Castle Rock, and I knew traffic would be really long, so I thought, well, I know, I'll call a locksmith and have a locksmith go over and unlock her door.
Oh, my God. So, and what a terrible, 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 terrible thing to do. Because if you call just a number, you are at, what I'm saying, terrible, meaning you just call someone without knowing who to call. And if you had gone to referral list, you're not going to get ripped off. But there's about a 90% chance if you go on the internet or the Yellow Pages, you're going to find a ripoff.
And sadly, that's exactly what happened. We did MSN, and the first thing comes in, local results for locksmith in Aurora. Third name down, and silliest enough, all it says is locksmith.
Of course.
With 5 red stars. So I call him up, and trying to just get there as soon as I can. She's an infant nursery supervisor. She needs to get to work. And I said, can you get there? And I gave the address, and they said, yeah, we'd have someone there in 20 minutes. Next question, well, what's your cost? Well, it's $29 to show up and $19.95 for a simple lock. And I said, so somewhere between $50 and $60? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, great. I said, now we're going to pay for it from here. This is for my sister. She's a single woman in her 50s and has a hard time, so we'll take care of it. And they said, okay, we'll send you the form. So call my sister, let her know, hey, locksmith's on the way. That was at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock he showed up. And he got there, and my sister called me up, and she's kind of in tears, and she goes, oh, Larry, I don't understand. He's going to charge me $135.
Okay, how much was the total charge? $135?
$135.
That's not unreasonable. Actually, that's not as bad as I thought. What did he do for $135?
Well, he originally tried to pick the lock.
What did he do? Just in general, what did he do? Meaning, was it just the car lockout?
Oh, it was just an entry door. It was a quick step door.
The car, okay. I mean the house. The house, okay.
For a house door, correct.
Okay.
And he wasn't able to pick it, so we ended up getting airbags and screwdrivers And, well, originally when he told her it was $135, I said, well, let me talk to the technician. I told the technician that we've talked to the office. The office we're billing through the office, so it's going to go through the office. They told us around $60. He says, I work for 10 different contractors. I charge $135, and your sister signed the paper. So I couldn't say anything to that. She did it. So anyway, it went on. He did the airbag.
I mean, I'm not. Listen, I'm telling you, I believe you. They do bait and switch. They do it all the time, But it's not terrible. It could have been way worse. I've heard of cases of $500 and $600. $135 you actually got off easy.
Yeah, well, he stopped her and he wouldn't let her leave. He said, you have to pay me now. And she got back on the phone. I said, listen, we have a credit card authorization here. We got it faxed. We're paying them. And he's like, no, you have to pay me now or I'll call the police. And so
I would have let him call the police.
And that's what we did. I said, call the police.
And then what happened?
As soon as the police arrived, he says, I can make discount and make $75.
Good. Is that what you paid?
So, I called the office. I gave him the credit card and paid it. But I just
hold on. That's very cool. You paid. Okay, so you did get it to 75 even.
Right.
Cool. Okay.
And that was partly because of the damage he did to the door. My sister had taken the pictures of the pry marks because, like I said, he popped her front door open instead of picking the lock and opening it.
Well,
but anyway,
what is the name? What is the name of the company? Did she get a name?
The name of the company is Locksmith.
No, that's not their name.
No, that's their name. It's number 3 on the Bing. They were all from Armenian, and they were very, very hard to understand because of the Eastern European accent.
Right.
And the attitude, So I like I said, I was just so shocked, and my calling to I guess the other consumers out there is like, take the time to really, go to look at your list.
You're right. You're right, because truly, especially when it comes to locksmiths, that is the one area where there's probably a 98% chance you will be ripped off. 98%. Locksmiths are a big danger. Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to write an article on that. That truly is something that needs to be said. Locksmith, and I don't know if they're Armenian. I don't know how you know that. I don't know the difference between Armenian and whatever, Romanian. I mean, how do you know, by the way, Larry? Are you
He had it on his vehicle.
What, Armenian?
They were
Armenian?
Yeah, that's because my sister was...
The vehicle says we are Armenian?
No, it doesn't say it. I forgot how she said it. There was a little name that was on there, and it just said Armenian, and that's all. And so I know that with their heavy accents, I'm assuming that they were all that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I do know that the police officer did ask him, are you a licensed locksmith? And he didn't answer. He just said, no, I did the job.
Okay, thank you. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Travis, what's going on? Travis?
Yeah, Tom.
What's happening, man?
Hey, I just wanted to give you a call and let you know I used Paradigm Flooring for some luxury vinyl tile in my main room, and they did the carpets in my house and just did a fantastic job. Good.
I'm glad you used them and liked them. And they're good guys over there. And
they really are. Really easy to work with. We had a couple things they had to come back for, but they were very professional. Got the job done quick. I was really, really happy with.
Oh, excellent. Okay, and we always appreciate that. We really do. We love when we have good reports from the referral list. Anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, I want to do some natural stone veneer on the front of my house, and looking for a mason, but I'm really not having any luck. And I was hoping that maybe with all your connections, you might be able to direct me in the right way.
You're looking for a veneer?
Yeah, like put on natural stone veneer.
Okay, now there are some people, Daff, on our referral list. We used to have. I thought the guy's name was he was Denver Masonry or something. I'm not sure they're still on there. But as far as masonry, I'm not sure if Sherrick Construction does that. They used to do something like that, face stone. If you can get them, or they might have someone. We also, I'm trying to think of the people that do. Could you look, Daff, and let me know who can do that masonry I looked it up in the referral list, the keyword, masonry, and I'm not sure I'm getting everyone here. So hold on a second. We'll see if we can come up with someone for you.
You bet, Tom. I'm on it.
Yeah, just look at that and let us know. Denver Masonry comes to mind. The guy was really cool, and he did some work for me, and he was on the referral list. But he was kind of getting out of the business, I think. So let's look that up. We got more coming up, and I hope you never need Wink and Wink, but it's a kind of business that you're glad they're there if you do. Medical bills, unemployment, death in the family, all of this could mean financial ruin. The law affords you a fresh start with bankruptcy at Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. You never know what will happen. Just remember the name winkandwink.com. They're good people. Mike and Gigi Wink. And it's winkandwink.com, 303-410-1720.
Our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Every time I remember somebody getting ripped off either car or whatever, locksmith, always Eastern European. Always, 100%. Russian or Eastern European. Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about $75 every time we touch a lock in our office. Seems like, but 135 for somebody to come out and open up a door.
They damage your door too.
What's that?
They damage your door.
They damage their door. Plus, you know, they oversold and underdelivered.
Right.
Or undersold, and there was more expensive.
And there's a locksmith. If you ever look on it, make sure they have. There's an organization. The locksmiths. I have that written down. But you always look to make sure they belong to that organization.
Yeah.
They're the ones that
And you can't do it without legal representation. Joseph A. Lazara is someone we highly recommend. Of course, we also recommend you stay out of trouble too. But Joe Lazara can help you.
So you do this 3 hours a day?
Yes. So many things to think about. It's the civil case and the criminal case you have to worry about. He can handle both with you and help you through the system. Joseph A. Lazara. Lazara.
Some days it's
Legal.com.
crazy.
That's L-A-Z-Z-A-R-A. Lazara. Legal.com. Also on my referral list at referralist.com. He'll always do initial consultations complimentary.
The Associated Locksmiths of America.
303-429-6200.
Are you embarrassed by your smile? Are you
Yeah, Denver Masonry are pending. But if you type in masonry, then say I'm a concrete man.
Yeah, but they're not masonry. I mean, I don't even know why they're on there as masonry.
Huh.
They're not even close to masonry.
That was all.
So they were categorized wrong, all of these people. That's not masonry.
These were all
That's not
carryovers
masonry.
from.
Massage heights. I mean,
Oh yeah, how is that even there? This is the. I'll write that down because.
But none of these. I don't know where we get concrete. Concrete's not masonry.
the last place you need to visit to get the care you need? Is the condition of your mouth
So-
causing you to
Sheriff
live a life
doesn't?
of quiet
I
desperation?
don't know, they might,
Call
but.
me. I'll take
I
great
think
care.
they might.
If you're looking for
Most of those were carryover from the old, so I think I'll make a note of that and go through that with Mark on all of those. But I'm also going to make a note on the carryover from the new website. That's just another little kink in our video.
I don't know if they were ever properly categorized.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it was. And so, but I'm saying having that
Masonry is brick,
stone,
block, that's masonry.
right?
Flatwork, concrete, that's not
That's not.
masonry.
Okay.
Even pavers aren't. Pavers are pavers, they're not
Right.
even masonry.
Well, I'll make a note of that, and I'll go through all of those sometime this week when I'm down in the office. And get that taken.
Invest in your health. Come in and visit one of our 2 convenient locations and try every piece of equipment before you buy. In Denver on 58th Ave and I-25, 1 block south of Grizzly Road.
Yeah, we're hoping to get our
in the Promenade Shopping
we're going to get our zoning
University and C4 Check us out
September 5th for this new location out there.
Fitness Gallery, getting Colorado in shape since
It's out where?
1997.
It's in Watkins, so about Watkins Road and I-70, just a little south.
Are you building a new building or?
It's a pre-existing home, but they've got 2 mother-in-law apartments.
Okay. You can get 52 beds.
Well, we're going to go for 28 to start, and then once we're in, and we can apply for the other 20 beds. But there's a 4,000 square foot finished garage that we can turn into dorms. And so, it's quite an expensive endeavor, but it'll give us an extra 39 acres to build on whenever we're ready. So it'll take all the little locations that we have and cut our expenses in half in operations.
Eventually consolidate.
As much as we can, but be able to serve like different continuums. That's a big part of our difficulty.
When you're in group, can you mix alcoholism with drug addicts, with opiates, when in group?
Yeah, because we're not really dealing with the substance abuse. The biggest thing is that
the psychology behind it.
It's the psychology behind it, and what everybody has in common is that when you take away the drugs and alcohol, like something has to get better, or else there's no upside potential. So what everybody's dealing with is really life issues, stress. Really it comes down to a difficult time regulating their emotions and dealing with life. And so, pick your poison. They're all bad for you. So that's really the issue, is like, how are you going to learn to tolerate yourself so that you can show up in this world in a more effective way. So it doesn't really matter what substance abuse.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. I was just talking to Eric off the air at the Raleigh house. We're online all the time, so you may have heard our discussion. And he's with a rehabilitation clinic. They have several locations. And I asked about, can you group alcoholics with opiate addicts in group? Now, by the way, they do single as well. They don't just do group, but they do some group, and they do individual counseling. They do physical stuff, medical stuff, and behavioral stuff, blood work, supplements, and then on the other side, the behavioral therapy. And you said you don't really concentrate on the actual substance, whether it's heroin, opiate, or it's alcohol, or whatever it is, meth. You don't concentrate on the substance.
No, we do a little bit of that, but the real issue is that there has to be a lot of upside potential underneath the drugs and alcohol.
Meaning, by quitting, you benefit.
By quitting, you benefit, but life has to look better when you stop doing that. Whatever it was that was making you feel so uncomfortable that you had to resort to something that's really not good for you and isn't working out. By the time you get to treatment, like, there's a pretty good indication that drugs and alcohol aren't working out for you anymore.
Can I ask you something? Is there always, listen carefully to this question, is there always a good reason someone is an addict? I mean
That's
that.
a double-edged sword.
No, I mean that. I mean, I've seen rich kids, I've seen kids that have everything. They're addicts.
Well, yeah.
But to them, there might be something missing. Do you always find a good reason, or do you find sometimes people simply can't cope?
Well, I think, yeah, I think you can always point to a specific issue in life, and you could say, yeah, this is probably a good indication of why you are this way.
Yeah.
And even when people come to us and they say, well, my son had the perfect life. And it's like, yeah, okay. So
except for something.
Except for even maybe the way that he perceived himself in the family. How did he show up? Did he meet your expectations? Did he show up in a way that feels right and meaningful to him? Because that would be the exception to having a perfect family.
Well, okay. So substance abuse, people, if you have any questions, if you have a child that you suspect is on drugs, here is one thing I'm going to tell you. It's not a phase. It will never get better. Never. Once you head down that road, it will never get better unless positive, very, very purposeful things are done. You can't, it will never happen on its own. Okay? You hear about people spontaneous curing and all that, then you got to check with them a few years down the road, because it doesn't happen without help. It just doesn't happen. It is one of the biggest problems we have in society. That's why I talk about it on this show. Anyway, let's talk to Ernest. Ernest, what's happening with you? Hello, Ernest. Welcome.
How you doing, sir?
What's going on with you, man?
A whole lot of nothing, but thank God for what you do.
I hope I can help you. You got a rough one here.
Yeah, almost a year ago, November of last year, my wife went to her mall where she liked to go shopping, and she had an incident. She slipped And long story short, here we are almost a year later, and our attorney decides...
Tell me what happened. Tell me exactly what happened.
I mean, she's walking with my daughter-in-law, and they're coming out of this one store, and as soon as they come out of this one store, she falls literally in the middle of the mall. We got photos, we got everything. The right away they try to clean up the incident.
Well, what? Hold on. What did she fall over or on, or why did she fall?
Okay, we took a photo of the bottom of her foot, and there was a clear substance. It looked like water. It was real clear, and she got a photo of that. I'm not sure what it was.
So basically, there was liquid on the floor.
Right, basically, yeah.
Now, I want to tell you something. Liquid on the floor could or could not be a liability issue. It depends. You see, premise liability is very, very weird. You do have a certain responsibility when you invite the public in to make sure the premises are safe. But that doesn't mean every instance is negligence. You see, you got a couple things here. You have a liability, a strict liability sometimes for the injury. Sometimes you have negligence, which goes beyond strict liability, and it goes into the pain and suffering. And then sometimes you have nothing. Premises liability is the toughest area of personal injury. John Fuller taught me that. Of all of them, he has really good luck with vehicles, with accidents, with some medical procedures, with different kinds of like on a bicycle, with pedestrians. But when it comes to premises, I'm not saying they're all a loss, but they're very, very difficult. So I want to ask you a few questions, okay? And this may sound weird, but I need to ask them. Is your wife otherwise in good physical health?
Yeah, until then, yeah.
Okay. How is she overweight?
Slightly.
Okay.
Slightly.
Does she have any disabilities when it comes to walking? There's a reason I'm asking.
I understand. No, she has none. They were great. She's been in good condition and never.
And what were the injuries? What were the injuries sustained? So her condition is good. What injuries were sustained after the?
When she slipped, she literally, her kneecap broke when it hit the ground.
So she has a broken knee?
Cap, yes.
Did she go to the doctors?
Yeah, they already got it taken care of. And
what were the total medical bills?
I couldn't really say.
Who paid for it?
Well, right now the surgeon is working with us because we didn't have insurance, and thank God he's working with us. We told him we may have a case.
Why don't you have insurance?
Me?
Isn't Obamacare open to everyone, even with Medicaid? Seriously.
Yeah, I'm serious, but yeah, the deductibles, I couldn't afford it. It's crazy.
So you didn't qualify for Medicaid?
No.
Okay.
I was just made my mind I wasn't going to get Obamacare because it's ridiculous, the deductibles, whatever.
Okay, enough said. Okay, so no insurance, and they're working with you. And have you seen any attorneys?
Yes.
Did you sign up with an attorney?
Yes.
And what does your attorney say?
Well, we started with Mr. Jim Adler, who was real popular here down here in Houston, and he referred to somebody else for some reason he didn't say.
Okay.
And he drug us along for like 8 months, and then recently, like a month ago, he decided he couldn't pursue it, and that's where we're at.
But when he said he couldn't pursue it, did he cut you loose as a client?
Yes.
Do you know what that means, Ernest, when an attorney says that to you? I'm going to be straight with you. You know what he means? Here's what he's saying. He doesn't think there's going to be a big enough reward for it. He doesn't think that he can prove anything.
Exactly,
that's the truth, man. I mean, if these people can't make money at the end of the day, they take a third of it. They don't want to bother with it. So, you know, I know some good PI attorneys. Are you in the Houston area?
Yes, sir.
I know some good attorneys down there that do personal injury, and I can speak to some of them, but they may tell you the same thing. Do you know how much the total doctor bills were?
I would say close to $20,000, I guess.
Okay, do you have any idea, as far as the documentation of the fall, you have photographs, right?
Photographs and witnesses.
Okay, do you have names of witnesses?
Yes.
When did your attorney quit the case?
Like a month ago.
I don't understand why he would quit.
I'm telling you, I thought we had a great case. We got photos. I mean, we got...
Could you do me a favor, Daphne? Dwight Yoakam, is that a singer? Maybe I got the wrong name. Not Dwight. Yoakam. It's another. It's hold on a sec. We're gonna get my attorney in the Houston area. It's not Dwight, but Yoakam. It's Yoakam. Look at him up. He's a PI attorney in Houston, or he's an attorney. And hold on, and I will hook up and just talk to someone in that area to see if they can ferret out why this guy would drop the case.
I'm going to look up too. How would you spell Yoakam?
Y-O-A-K-A-M. Southbound I-25 approaching 120th. The three-car crash has the left lane blocked. Backups all the way past 144th. Actually backing up to Northwest Parkway at this point. And a semi-trailer fire on the eastbound side of I-70 at C-470. Off to the right shoulder. They got the right lane blocked there as well.
Gerald Yoakam. Gerald Yoakam, Pearland, Texas. Gerald, G-E-R-A-L-D-Y-O-A-K-U-M, Gerald Yoakam. Look him up. Just tell him it's Tom Martino calling if he can answer a few questions. He used to be, I don't know, he used to be my main guy when I was on in Houston.
But it's not hard to protect your engine from overheating.
I know people all over the freaking country.
And grab some Fresco antifreeze for 11.
I'm on a water kit here.
So he called from Texas. Is this broadcasting in Texas?
YouTube and Facebook.
Understood.
Yeah. That's a lot of people get that. Or podcasts, they listen to it and stuff. But yeah, it's live on YouTube, and you can see past shows too.
Oh, cool.
And Facebook. Cool. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Hey, is addiction genetic?
That's the question.
I absolutely totally believe it is.
Well, I always tell you that any one person that says that this is a one size.
Right. Oh, I agree. Not every. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a genetic predisposition, you've got a spiritual malady, you might have environmental, you might have biochemical, significant trauma, but even more than that, it's attachment. How did this person show up in their family? Were they nurtured? Were they cared for? How did they attach to their people? Was there abuse? Was there neglect? Was there abandonment? All of those things are such huge contributing factors to how somebody might end up developing.
Sure.
And you always take this person that says, like I said on the radio, you've got this kid who we would look at him and say, God, you have the perfect life, right? But then dad, here he is on a pedestal, and did that kid idealize the dad and say, like, I'm going to be like him one day, and then the dad finally looks at him funny, and it's just how the dad is, but then the kid perceives, I'm never going to be like that.
Oh, so
now he perceives it. So, but then you take your classic alcoholic, textbook alcoholic, who really does have that propensity to just, once they drink, like they physically cannot stop. That to me would be a genetic issue. But then you got the guy that was hurt as a child or got made fun of in school and decides that he's going to drink, and that just feels better than the alternative. He's probably got an easier time stopping.
But and I know people will say it's racist or whatever, but you always hear like American Indians. American Indians.
Yeah.
Irish. Yeah. And Irish could be also the genetics, but also could be that's their what they do. But and it's not nothing necessarily bad. It's just like everything. It's abnormally that it gives a greater propensity.
Yeah. That's interesting because when you look at the genetic question, American Indians.
Tell them it's a basic question about premises liability.
There's certain supplements that actually affect them differently than, like those, different.
And you see alcoholism in families. It could be like you had said. It could just be the way they're treated in that family. And, I mean, you see months or years of alcoholism kind of follows the family tree. So I think that genetic has a very big normality. You can't do a wave your hand and say, yep, that's what's going to affect it. But there is personalities. But for me, I don't think I have an addictive personality. I could never be an alcoholic. I could never.
No, I hate alcohol. But the things I do like, I mean, I think I have a very addictive personality. Even with Coke Zero, coffee, with
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I have, I mean, certain things. I can't. I mean, I really get to like stuff. I do that with activities.
But you're able to just stop it though. I mean, I'm going to stop it.
Well, who said I haven't tried to stop coffee or Coke Zero? I haven't tried. I mean, seriously. And activities. I mean, I go like, I can tell that I'm addicted. I can tell just by how I go all in on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of addictive personalities are successful personalities, but their addiction is
a type A. Yep, it's all in and all.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. One thing we mentioned off the air again, good discussions. Addictive personalities, is there such a thing? Eric, with the Raleigh House, is there such a thing? You hear it all the time, addictive personalities.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can have just that personality.
I think many successful people do have addictive personalities.
I've got it.
Yeah, I do too, because I go into something and I go full force, and I don't, and I just get so involved. And certain foods I like, drinks I like. I'm not talking about alcohol, but I just happen to not like alcohol. But there are certain things, you know, I truly have, I think, an addictive personality, and I channel my addictions into good, what I think are positive things. I mean, I imagine TV binging, even TV binging, you know, that's not necessarily positive, but I can tell by how I react to things. So you would say there are certain personalities prone to doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with people that are driven from maybe a place of anxiety or anxiousness. I mean, there's no secret that sometimes when we're you know, we have to deal with ourselves.
Well, we either go toward, I believe we either go toward pleasure or away from pain, or a little bit of both. But truly, that's how the whole human psyche works, right? We go through life trying to avoid pain or seek pleasure, don't we?
Absolutely.
Even, I mean, and for those of you saying, oh, no, Dom, I'm not a pleasure seeker, you know, I love God. Well, that's your pleasure, and that is your, no, it's serious, and I'm not putting that down. That is your pleasure. You are seeking that pleasure or that relationship, and there are people who have a painful past, and they go away from pain. And just so, I think, as I said, I'm not going to sit in judgment of somebody right now listening to this show who's home right now, drunk on their butts, or popping pain pills. I'm urging you to call if you want any help or you want to talk about it. Seriously. Now, we have that other number, 303-MARTINO, 303-627-8466. Gerald Yoakum, I've known for years and years and years, since I was on the radio in Houston and around the country, and I've always thought he was a pretty astute legal mind. Gerald, hi, I haven't talked to you in a long time.
How you doing, Tom? I haven't. We miss you here in Houston. It's just good to hear you.
Hey, man, I hope we get a lot of listeners there still on iHeart now and on the iHeart Radio app, and they're also we're live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So, Gerald, we want to know about premises liability. Isn't that one of the most difficult areas when it comes to personal injury?
Well, it's difficult because if you're an invitee as opposed to someone who's sneaking onto the property. So it really depends what your status.
We're talking about a mall. Let's say you're walking through a mall and this floor's wet, and this woman, she fell and she got hurt. But how do you establish negligence in a mall when something is on the floor? Doesn't it have to be something known or should have been known? What is the standard?
That's the key words right there, Tom. Did the management of the mall know of the spill? And if they did they put up any signage? Did they try to cover up the spill? It really comes down to what knowledge the mall had to whether or not they're going to be liable.
And then to make it worth going after as an attorney for contingency, doesn't there really has to be something? His first attorney dropped it, and I can only believe that they don't think it's worth much because she had a broken kneecap. Now, yeah, that's a lot of pain, maybe $20,000 in doctor bills, but what do you look for as an attorney when you look at personal injury?
First, you look at liability. If you get to the first step of liability, you look to, can you actually collect it? And in this case, in a mall, they have plenty of insurance. So if there was damage, and if you can get liability, the jury may give you collectability. There's definitely an insurance policy there. But then you have to look at what responsibility did the person that got hurt take? Did they look? Was there signage? Could a reasonable person see that there was a spilt milkshake sitting in the middle of the walkway and they stepped in it? And so it's really a totality of the circumstances. But if the first attorney dropped it, we as attorneys take cases to make a living as well as make our clients some money. So if the first attorney dropped it, I'll be more than glad to take a look at it for him and see if we can help him in any way. But there's a reason they dropped it.
That's what I thought, Gerald. And again, I really appreciate you coming on. What does your law firm do now? What kind of law?
We do predominantly divorces, family law, criminal law. We do personal injury. I don't do bankruptcy and tax. I do a lot of wills right now. We have 4 lawyers in my office. We're pretty busy, and we're 24 hours a day if someone calls me.
All right, and I'll give the number out. I'll give the number out for all our listeners down there in Texas, 281-612-8177, 281-612-8177, Gerald Yoakum, and then we'll give that name to Ernest for him to get a consultation. We have more coming up.
Tom, is that restroom closed?
Yeah.
Nothing is more important than your health. Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of Fitness Gallery, where we sell the world's finest fitness equipment, like true treadmills, bikes, and ellipticals, consistently rated the best in the industry. Among Runner's World's top-rated treadmills for the last 25 years. And Tough Stuff Strength, for 46 years, carries a lifetime warranty on all parts. Don't waste your money on big box, internet, or infomercial inferior products. At Fitness Gallery, for years we've been.
I'm sorry about these lights. I just wasn't in the mood for them today. So.
No, you know what, Tom? I would love to go in there and take out. See what we did on those lights. You remember? We turned them up and 3. I think we leave them down and 3.
But you would still complain. You're right. And I told these guys I wouldn't touch you.
So I don't like that. For something as cool as that.
Mark didn't think. He thought I was joking. I knew. I said, no, we're going to hear it. We're going to have problems.
The president has a new White House chief of staff, but he says he'll keep on doing what he is well known for.
You should have told him that was funny.
Where only the fake news media and Trump enemies want me to stop using social
media. It was Ross.
110 million people.
We have video.
Only way for me to get the truth out.
That's a joke.
Earlier, he touted the stock market gains under his watch.
It's actually.
Again,
You make a joke of it.
Who's the head, the boss guy?
6 months ago.
Tim?
Yes, Tim came in and said, any calls about certain times.
2 people in Ohio arrested after police.
I just wanted to let you know that body.
You'll handle it?
Of another woman
with
that the identity of her ex-girlfriend moving into her home
for the whole
using her
show.
credit card.
For the, I don't know. Suzanne does all the booking, and she is in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
So,
Not yet.
well, I don't know. They should be there by now.
Oh, a
Only a
flight.
2-hour flight.
The owners or lessees
Yeah.
can receive payments and other benefits from a legal settlement related to allegedly defective Takana airbags in their vehicle.
We usually don't just let people for now.
Oh, it's up to you.
Yeah.
That's totally up to you. If you need to leave, leave. But I can keep here as long as you want. Okay.
Yeah, I'll pace the ground for a little bit.
Whatever you want to do.
Perfect. All right.
Because I think each little bit is helping. Yeah.
Did you want some more water?
Sure.
Okay. And we just gave your number away to a gal. She could not come on the radio because all of her.
We're also getting some emails behind the scenes. Just so you know.
Everybody would know.
Yeah. Just so you know, we're getting emails.
I'm just bring you another water
I mean, that happens a lot. That's why I told you we'll always benefit.
Yeah, this is enjoyable. She sent me an invite, and it was for an hour, so I didn't know it was a full show.
For a sponsored job.
Very rarely do you just do an hour.
Oh, okay, good.
The world's number one job site. Their conditions and quality standards apply.
brought to you by Office Depot Office Max. Sunny today with a high of
Thank you.
87. Mostly clear and a low of 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high near 87. Big change
Nice and chilly.
Mostly dry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
65.
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah. Just laugh.
You got it.
Can I come out and help you? Or?
Oh, no. Go get it for you.
Office, we have great coffee.
Awesome.
We have,
Speaking of addictive personalities.
The Stem Cell Institute of America is in Denver, so if you're suffering from osteoarthritis...
I never got into marijuana, just don't like it. I don't like being high.
Yeah.
I just don't like the feeling.
Stem cell therapy educational seminars free with
And I don't like alcohol because it makes me drunk. Every now and then a glass of red wine with Italian food, but one glass. I mean, if I have more, I don't like that. I don't like that.
You like that numb feeling.
And I don't like being high. I don't like being high. Like when I did smoke marijuana or tried it, I don't like it. I like being high. I don't know why people like that feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, that numbness or that.
So John called.
Makes you funny.
One thing
You talked to John this morning. He called and said,
is when I have surgery.
I can't call until
surgery.
but he
It's
faxes
not a
us ahead.
high,
So like
but
if he does get through it noon, I'm going to give this to you so you have it in hand.
And I can truly see that.
Copy's on the way.
Yeah, I can see people. I can see it because that to me is not high though. That's just like a dull. That's like a euphoria.
You haven't taken advantage of your
But-
VA benefits.
And I don't know what other drugs would mimic that. Probably heroin and cocaine and all. That's why they do it. I don't know. I mean, I think I've never done. I might have tried when now in my teens, and rock and roll days, I never even in the height of it, when I tried something, I never kept doing it. But here, I was the worst of the worst. I pretended with my group, just to be cool, like I get high, But I really, truly did enjoy it. But I didn't tell anybody. I mean, I told my closest friends, but we were in a group. If they point past a joint, I'm not. I don't go, no.
You didn't inhale.
I actually didn't even smoke it. I would just say, I either say I'm already high or I'm not feeling it. I never took like a moralistic stand. But I was afraid of the other stuff, literally. LSD. And here's my problem. Because I faked LSD so much, not faked it, but pretended, I was down with it. One time it came back to sting me. They passed a bottle of orange soda around one day in a group. And as soon as we were done, they just said, here, take a swig. And they said, it was LSD. And that was, for these guys, common. For me, it was the first time ever I truly did it. And it scared the living crap out of me. I went to the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, it scared the living shit out of me. I had never been more scared in my life. That was a lesson for me.
Now, if you had known that's what it was and you were looking at...
No.
You didn't know.
If I knew, I didn't even know.
Right.
So I thought I was going insane.
Right.
I literally thought there was something, I was hallucinating. And I thought to myself, this is what insanity must be. I have to get to a hospital before I hurt myself. I really meant that. So so when I was getting ready to go, I was going to go to the police station, literally, and ask them to take me. Because I was like, 16 or something, and I didn't have my mom at home. My friend said, "Are you feeling it, man?" And I said, "What?" He said, "The sunshine, man, it was in the dream." And I felt both relief and fear, right? Because here's why.
At least you knew it was
because it was just
outside.
Just started, so I knew that it was going to get worse. Yeah, and I said, Walter, we got to get somewhere. I can't have this. But all they did at the hospital was shot me up with
the Troubleshooter. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your Troubleshooter. Welcome to the show. The only show anywhere of its kind where we discuss each and every ache and pain in your consumer life. The things that tick you off, the things that make you tick. And we have a vast national audience. We really do. We get calls from all over the country. But we concentrate here in Denver and Colorado. That's where we're headquartered. But because of iHeartRadio, that wonderful app, there's not a day goes by we don't get calls from. We have a big Texas audience, Florida, Arizona, California, New York. Welcome. For my WABC days in New York. We also have live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Welcome to the club, because this is a club, meaning it's a club you can bat people over the head with, figuratively, if you have a problem. What I love about the show, and I truly mean this, I don't care about politics, whether you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care what economic class you're in, what religion. We help everyone because no one should be mistreated, rights violated, or get cheated in any way, shape, or form at all, ever. So, let's help you. Now, also, what we do is provide the good guys, the referral list, of course, for the good guys. But if you want to see the bad guys, try sleazbrigade.com. Troubleshooter.com is my blog site, and then, of course, referrallist.com. They're all related. Today, from my referral list, we have the Raleigh House, which is a rehab center, a rehab clinic. They have a program. It's a 90-day program, resident program, in several locations in the Denver metro area, and they're building a new one. It's really a loving, caring staff. That's what I care about more than anything. They do a holistic approach, meaning medical and behavioral. They involve families and loved ones. If you have someone you think is in need of rehab, give us a call if you have any questions on how to talk to them. If you want to know the nitty-gritty about rehab and what's involved, give us a call. Or look them up online, theraleighouse.com, or you can call them directly. I'll give out their number. Meanwhile, you can find them on the referral list at referrallist.com. Now, we don't have a single topic show, but he's certainly here to chime in on anything. And by the way, Eric, welcome. You can chime in literally on anything, because I know more about you than most people. Now, you're not just the owner of this rehab program, but you're also a businessman from the time you could walk because of your family, and you know how to run businesses. So if you ever want to chime in, please do so. Speaking of that, speaking of businesses, what do you think the #1 reason businesses fail when they start up? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? I know what I think it is.
Lack of tenacity, lack of drive.
Do you think so?
Sometimes, yeah.
I think it's lack of capital.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find people with all kinds of drive, but they just can't. They're undercapitalized. They start too soon or something. I don't know. But when you say tenacity, you mean like to keep going with problems?
Yeah. You know, owning a business isn't easy. It takes a certain skill set. It also takes a certain a certain drive and enthusiasm. And there was 100 times in the last 9 years that we've been open that I could have given up. That I looked at it and I said, this is just too hard. I can't do this anymore. And, you know, I ended up starting this business with very little capital.
Yeah.
But I had a dream, I had a vision, and I didn't stop. I never gave up.
How do you get approved to do rehab anyway? Can you just open up and call yourself rehab, or does the health department have to approve you?
Yeah, you can open up as a sober living relatively easy. Basically, people go to live there, but technically you're not supposed to provide any services that would be considered clinical.
How do you do that? Do you have to be a licensed clinic of some kind?
Those types of programs you don't actually have to be licensed for sober living, but if you're going to provide therapy, if you're going to...
Like you guys do?
Exactly.
What do you have to... So the health department gets involved?
You've got to go through zoning.
Are you inspected regularly?
Absolutely. Zoning... we have about 8 different entities that oversee us. One of them is the Office of Behavioral Health. The other is the Joint Commission, which is a high form of accreditation for hospitals and institutions. But also the insurance companies oversee that we're providing good services.
Oh, they won't pay if they don't have legit places.
Yeah, if we don't do a nice job, they're not paying us.
Now listen, we never rehearse what we're going to talk about, so I don't know if you even do any kind of infusion. Infusion therapy, meaning needles of magnesium or certain things, you know, niacin, different kinds of, or minerals or amino acids to help. But of all the complaints recently, I'm getting more complaints about those kinds of centers. Now, I don't even know what I'm saying when I say those kind, but they don't do a lot of behavioral stuff. They seem to be concentrating on, for lack of a better word, infusion. Is that a new trend in rehab?
You know, it's been around for a long time, and it's certainly helpful.
Is it controversial?
It's definitely controversial. You've got your medical doctors that are trained in a certain way, and then you've got your functional medicinists that are trained in another way. And, you know, in my opinion, neither one of them are right, neither one of them are wrong, because there's no one-size-fits-all. But when it comes to amino acid therapy, it certainly is helpful as a single tool, but you know, it really does take behavioral therapy, it takes talk therapy, it takes really examining and getting to know somebody on a deep level of what's really going on with this person.
Do you do any kind of infusion therapy?
We don't do infusion therapy. Excuse me.
Yeah.
We don't do infusion therapy, but we do use amino acids, vitamins, and minerals.
Sure.
Those are the proteins. Those are the building blocks that make up life. But, you know, we're of the opinion that sometimes people need medication to get through some of their issues and safety.
One thing, I don't know if you guys do this or not, I'm not trying to hoodwink you into a discussion about it, but I find so many people do not have their hormones balanced. Simple hormones. I mean, you got a guy that has no more testosterone, or a woman that has no estrogen, or a guy that has too much estrogen, or their thyroid's off. Do you guys check those things?
We do, yeah, and that's important. I mean, you hit your 40s and things start to change.
Right.
And you get a guy that's depressed, maybe drinks a little bit too much, and he's depressed.
And hormones, I mean, thyroid can do that.
Absolutely.
Testosterone can do that. I mean, obviously there are more problems going on, but those are some of the obvious ones. Donna, welcome to the show. I'm so sorry you had to wait. What's going on?
Oh, hi, Tom.
Hi, Donna.
How are you?
Good. What's going on with this HOA thing?
Okay, I live in an HOA neighborhood, and I just got a letter because I put a nail into my siding. And
wait. Why did you put a nail in your siding? To hang something?
Well, my friend did it. There was a trellis when I moved in, and it kept falling down about 7 times. So my friend put a nail in
to the trellis.
Yes, and it was very near the wall, to the wall and into the siding.
How long was the trellis there? How long had it been there?
At least I've owned the home 11 years.
And so, what did they write you a letter?
Yes.
This is some guy walking around or driving around on his. Now let me explain it to you. He's got Bermuda shorts and white knee socks and sandals, and he has a clipboard and a straw hat, or it's a woman of the same ilk, and they are HOA. You know, this gives purpose to their lives. They ride around on their bicycle and write down violations.
Well, here's the deal. Contractually, they have to take care of the outside, and I take care of the inside.
Is this a townhome or is this a home?
It's a duplex.
Okay, gotcha. So anyway, what are they saying, bottom line? They didn't want you to put any nails in the structure, right?
Right, but I paid for it. They were supposed to take care of the outside, but they broke the contract.
But what do you mean you paid for it?
They had an extra assessment, and I had to pay over $5,000 for the siding.
Oh, wait a minute. So did you pay for that siding before you put the nail in it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this was an assessment because they re-sided the homes. I understand that, a capital assessment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's normal. So now, you paid for that, right? But what they're saying is you shouldn't have put a nail in it. I understand that, as much as I hate HOAs.
Well, since I paid for it, why aren't I allowed to put a nail on it? They didn't pay for it.
Well, because those are the rules. I mean, because you paid. Listen, I don't want to be in the place of arguing for an HOA, because truly, I think most of them are ridiculous. I see the need for them, but I think they go too far. So I just want to say, Donna, I hate to have to stick up for them. But what I see is this. You didn't really pay for that. You paid an assessment, and I understand what you're saying when you say you paid for it. Everyone who owns a townhome or a duplex or whatever you own in a certain area, whenever the parking lot is done or something is done and it's a capital improvement, there's usually a capital assessment or a capital assessment fund. That doesn't mean that you can go out to part of that parking lot you own and do graffiti on it or whatever. It doesn't mean you can deface it. And I can see why they have the rule of not putting anything on the exterior of your home, because where do you draw the line? If someone puts up a trellis, or if someone puts up a wreath, or if someone starts nailing up posters, I can see it. But what I want to know more than anything is, what were the consequences? Are they making this a major deal?
No, they're not. I'm the one who saw it as a great opportunity and thought maybe I'll take them to small claims court and get back my $5,000, and they can pay for it. Then they can tell me what to do with my home.
I don't think you would win. You could try it, but I don't think you'll win, because that assessment is probably clearly outlined in the HOA docs as far as capital improvements. I'm not sure, but most of the time it is. The other thing is the rules are probably pretty clear too. The fact is, I think you have a weak argument in that the fact you paid for it doesn't give you the right to violate the rule. For example, I'll give you an example. I mean, if you pay for your car, doesn't mean you can put a sign on it and park it out in front of your house in most communities. There's a rule against it. Even if you pay for your driveway, you can't do it unless, I mean, if it's against the rules. The paying for it doesn't give you the right to break the rule.
To me, it's funny that you would bring up a car, because to me it seemed like I bought the car, but then they're telling me what I can do with the car.
Right.
And it made no sense.
It doesn't make sense because, well, they really do. We do this a lot. I mean, if you think about it, when we have a fence and we go to the building department and they say, you have to set back this fence 2 feet, it can't be any higher than this, or it must be this height, and you must do this and must do that, but yet you get to pay for it, Donna. That is not really a dichotomy, having to pay for something but letting others dictate conditions. We have that in all walks of life. I mean, truly we do. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, we do that with education. We pay for the education, but we don't tell people what to teach us. There are curriculums set forth by the state. We pay taxes, but certainly we don't dictate how those taxes, well, we do indirectly, how they're spent. And you do too, as a homeowner. I mean, technically, you do dictate the assessments. You do dictate the rules. I mean, truly, if that rule was stupid and burdensome, you can change those rules. Within every HOA a set of rules, there are ways to change them. Usually it takes a 75% vote to make a change in existing covenants. So, Donna, there are things to go about. Now, I'm sorry that I didn't jump on your bandwagon. I don't like HOAs, but in this one case, I mean, I can't argue with it.
I'd like to.
Right? I guess her thing, she put up a trellis, right? And she pounded a nail in.
No, it was already there, but she attached it to the house.
Oh, the trellis was just sitting there, probably leaning over.
Which is just a vinyl siding that's going to put...
Was it vinyl?
We don't know.
We don't know, but
what difference does it make? I can see that.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you're right, she was hung up on the fact that she had just got a special assessment for it.
Yeah. Forecast. Well, it's going to be mostly sunny today. Nice, a high near 87. Right now, we got a few clouds above in the mile-high city. We're sitting at 88.
Tom had said that they're trying to make people good.
6:30.
You know, addiction makes people feel good. When I was going through college and working in summer construction, which is terrible work, cement construction, terrible hard work, whatever, there was people there in Minnesota that did that just in the summertime, so they could get unemployment in the winter and smoke dope all winter long. Now, is that trying to do? They worked a crappy job, and they did that year after year. They worked so they could collect unemployment because outside construction goes away.
There are a lot of people who manage delayed gratification.
Okay, and maybe that's what.
There are a lot of people that know how to do that. I mean, there are. That's their purpose. That's their goal.
And that's their yearly goal.
Yeah,
sure. So that was.
But there are a lot of people who get high and drunk that aren't addicts.
Right.
A lot of people. They just like the feeling, and they can.
And you're right. They might not have been addicts, even though they smoked all the way over here. They did it day after day after day in the winter, and that was their, like I say, that was their vacation. Their winter vacation.
Yeah.
Sit in a crappy apartment, smoking eating pizza, whatever.
Well, it's an expanded version of what most people do Monday through Friday. Right?
You know what? That's a good analogy. You're right. That's a good analogy. They work this 5 days so they can party on the weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. That's what. And you're right, they probably weren't addicts because they could function normally.
Yep.
You know, as far as work and stuff.
I wish there was a way that people could safely self-medicate. I wish there was a way. I mean, truly, it's just not a rule of the universe. The rule of the universe says everything has a cost. I mean, truly, just think if people could Broncos country. Drink when they got home, not destroy their liver, not, you know, not get crazy, not need more, not build a tolerance, and then the next day be fine. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Everything's got it's got upside and then it's got a downside.
I know.
Everything.
So if you just had a feel-good stick that you could just like, I mean, feel good as long as it's there, then when it goes, boom, it's all gone.
Do you know the funny thing about opiates? They
back issues for 25 years.
They're really a lie. I mean, I don't even know why they're allowed, and I'll tell you why. Because they do help with pain, but they literally
temporary.
They literally temporary. They peak your pain sensors. They actually make you more. If you have to be on them more than a week, even more than a week, I don't even mean 2. I mean more than a week. You literally.
Having more fun.
When you stop, the pain that you have is more intense than it would have been had you not taken that.
Well, even when you're on the opiate, like you said, it works good for the first short period of time as a tool. But then when you stay on it, because you've got maybe a bruised elbow, and if you hit your elbow on the door with the opiates, the pain is going to be much more intense than if you were to be off of the opiate.
And then here's the most devastating thing. I don't know why, but our physiology is such that you build a tolerance. Right. Do you know they wouldn't be near as deadly if you didn't build a tolerance? Right. They would even be manageable. But here's what happens. Who was the person I talked about this person dying? They take it, you take it till they're up to 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 pills at a time. We're talking like 60, 70 milligrams. And that could kill. If we took it, we'd die. But they build up a tolerance. But their lungs, their heart, doesn't know it's a tolerance. And you don't even know it because you're building up a tolerance mentally. You don't feel it. You get to a point like Prince. I'm convinced Prince was as high as he's always been. Not more high or not less high. He was just trying to maintain his high. But it was at the point where the heart went, oh, I'm done. That's it. You don't even know when it's coming. It's not like you overdose with heroin and it goes to your heart and kills you. You gradually get to a point where you're dead. Right. Isn't that weird?
Respiratory depression.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you don't feel it coming. Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Painkillers, the big deception in America, painkillers. I'll bet you everybody right now knows someone who is on a painkiller. Everyone. Whether they say they need it for pain or not, everyone knows someone on a painkiller right now. Everyone. You know someone. Maybe more than one. Here's the deception. Painkillers tweak your pain sensors. They're great for anesthesia, and they're great for short term, like 2 or 3 days after surgery. 2 or 3 days. Here's the problem. Your pain sensors actually become extra sensitized with opiates. So when you stop them, you feel pain more. So they actually reverse that. They make you more sensitive to pain. Yet your tolerance gets to where you need more and more to feel the same effects until your heart stops. That's what happens to Prince or any number of people. Michael, what can we do to help you, sir? Michael? Hello, yes, Michael.
I'm here. Hi, how are you?
Just out of curiosity, do you know anyone right now who are on any kind of opiate or painkiller?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay,
but,
I thought maybe you would know someone, but okay.
Actually, I called in today because originally it was about J-tube instruction, but I was listening to your conversation regarding the mental health system.
Yes, sir.
And helping people.
Yes.
Well, I kind of have a problem.
What is it?
I was on bipolar medications for a really, really long time, like for 17 years.
Oh, yeah? What kind of medication, sir?
Well, I was on lithium, Depakote. I've been on Milleril, Tegretol, Ritalin.
Okay.
I've been on a number of different medications.
Okay.
And I come to find out that I didn't have bipolar. I had autism.
Now, who told you you had autism?
Well, I knew something was off. I actually got on a medication for schizoaffective disorder, which is actually autism. I mean, actually, is schizophrenia plus bipolar.
Well, did you have episodes where you were diagnosed? Did you have this extremely high euphoria with the fantasies and then the lows?
No, I didn't. What the situation was is that the autism side of it made it look like I had bipolar because of the manic episodes I had as a child growing up. But I wasn't bipolar. I actually had autism. I found this out in 2014.
Okay, so did you stop? Did you stop your meds?
No. Well, I stopped the bipolar medications, so I ended up in the hospital.
What now? Why? When you stopped bipolar, did you go cold turkey?
I did.
Okay, and what happened? Did you freak out?
No. What happened was my sensory processing. I was experiencing so much difficulty with reasoning with what is truth and false as far as.
So
reality.
Are you up bipolar now?
I'm not on any bipolar medications.
What medications are you on?
I'm on risperidone constant.
And what's that for?
It's for schizoaffective disorder.
So that comes from the autism.
Well, no, the autism side of it is more neurological. It came about that I actually had all three, is what the doctors were trying to tell me.
Okay.
It was very hard to diagnose. I've been diagnosed with having ADD, with having attention deficit disorder, all different kinds of disabilities. But the problem that I'm facing now is that, I'm not going to lie to you, I went to prison for something that wasn't my fault because of the misdiagnosis. I wasn't being treated properly for the actual diagnosis that I had. So being improperly treated, I ended up going to prison for a sexual assault case back in 2000.
Was it a rape?
No, I masturbated in front of a couple people.
Okay.
I didn't physically do anything to anybody.
No, I understand. Yeah. Sure. It was I can see where your condition, you would have been, in a position to do that. So now, what's going on now?
Well, now I'm living with my mother. I have no ability to get a job. I mean, so many different places I've been trying. The Goodwill, because of my neurological disorder with autism.
Tell me something. The medications you're on.
Yeah.
If you don't take them, what happens?
Well, I have a tendency to black out. I have insomnia, so I have a tendency to black out. I'm not aware of what I'm doing. If I do anything, but people have told me that I've thrown things and that I've been disruptive.
When you're not on the meds.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you're saying if people do a background check on you,
right,
they find all kinds of things wrong as far as your background, right?
No, I haven't had a case for sexual assault or any sexual.
No, but is that on your record? Do you have to report where you do you have to report where you live and all that?
Yeah, I do.
That's terrible. I mean, what I mean by that is, if you did something victimless like that, or, I mean, a lot of people will argue it's not victimless, and it is lewd, okay, and all that, but man, I'm telling you, something that stupid just stays with you where you literally have to, report where you live, and they publicize. Isn't that terrible, man? I'm telling you.
It is.
I mean, I know a guy that was, he was 18 or 19, no, he was 20-something, and this girl was a minor, and he didn't know it, and she lied about her age, and they didn't even have sex, but he did some texting and stuff. This guy, for the rest of his life, has to report as a sexual predator. I mean, it ruined him. And
one thing you guys need to know is that the problem with me is not that I have this fantasy about, people or about, kids or women in an appropriate way, because now that I'm correct on the right medication, all those feelings and tendencies are gone.
Okay.
What happened to me was that the medication stimulated me.
Okay.
I was already overly stimulated current-wise in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So when they gave me the medication, it messed with my cognition. It slowed it down, and I was constantly confused about anything and everything anybody would ask me to do.
For 17 years. Poor guy.
For 17
But now, how can we help you now?
Well, the thing about it is that the mental health system is so strong with with their beliefs. They're telling everybody that these drugs help when they don't. How can a person understand the difference between right and wrong if they're stuck in emotional behavior, if they're stuck living by their emotions, and their cognition is slowed down to the point where they can't understand what
So how can we help you? Are you looking to get this expunged because of the medications?
Well, I'm going through Criminal Defense Institute right now. It's a free thing where they help you look for attorneys. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting right now.
But what are you trying to do, though, Michael? What is
I'm trying to get off registration.
Okay, that's right. Now, I would say if truly you were on the wrong meds and you were bipolar, or they said you were bipolar, and you masturbated in public, I don't believe that should brand you the rest of your life. I
don't either.
So I want to talk to have you actually talked to an attorney yet?
No, well, I'm on disability, so I can't really afford any.
Okay, I want to talk to an attorney for you, Joseph A. Lazara. He is a criminal defense attorney, and I'd like to get his opinion, if we can get him on, about getting off of this registry, how difficult it might be. So just hold on, please. It's very, very important. Man, it's just a very difficult thing, you know. What can you say? Approval Reverse Mortgages. That's a company I want you to remember if you're thinking about a reverse mortgage. Joan Sullivan and her team are truly the only ones in this industry that I really trust to give you the truth. Reverse mortgages, make no mistake, are not for everyone, but they are valuable retirement tools for some. If you have equity, if you're over 62, if you need either lump sum of cash, maybe monthly payments, or a line of credit, check please first with ApprovalReverse.com. She'll tell you whether you're a good candidate or not. 303-771-3528. 303-771-3528.
Our 2017 iHeartRadio.
Is our third heavy? I didn't get a list.
Oh, right here. There it is.
Now I do. Dan was hiding it.
No.
You're up shit.
No.
How much time?
You got like 4.5 minutes. Go.
Tom Joseph's not answering. I'll try again.
Do I get Cranac?
Or we'll get another one, maybe a Cranac, but only if he knows anything about getting stuff expunged and also the, what do you call it, the registry.
62 and older, are you not
That's
feeling
a
as
tough one.
financially secure as you'd like to? Is
Man, are we online?
Are you retired?
Yeah, we're online.
We're always on.
And do you
Yeah, we
own
can
your
get
own
coffee if you ever need.
That's a tough one. Risperidol, that's generally for schizoaffective disorder, or Haldol, you know, it's sedate, but it also calms the mind so that you can stop. Maybe it can reduce the amount of hallucinations or auditory hallucinations. But that's a difficult situation, and I would be curious to see what he's doing to really find himself employment, because he's not. Well, before he gets off of that registry, you know, is he stable? Has he figured out a way to really, you know, get out of his mom's house and like figure out how he's going to be a productive member of society, and what does that really mean to him? Mental disorders is no joke. Right. Oh, I totally agree, and I don't understand it because I don't really know people. Well, I got a niece that's probably not all there. But you're right. Unless you really understand it and know people that it is, you just look and say, wow, there's a group. But what's a group? You know. But like right there, he didn't say his age. Yeah, I was curious. You know, that's one thing. Seriously, jump in there and just say, hey, you know, Michael, what is your age and stuff? You know, well, the interesting thing was he talked about that the drugs had stimulated him, and we were having a talk at the Raleigh House a few weeks ago, and we were talking about younger boys that were labeled as predatory because they had a sexual offense or they had acted out sexually, and sometimes they were these younger boys that really had a lot of muscle, they were beefy, they were big, and when the research shows that sometimes these guys' hormone levels are elevated, and so you think of a male, you know, that's got elevated testosterone levels. Anyway, I think puberty is very low when they have sex. Yeah, but if it's up above like what a normal level would be for that guy, and they start. Well, that's the thing. Like the Ritalin, I mean, the stuff for she says autism
and no pressure.
is when they get ADD.
Well, Ritalin. Yeah.
I cannot believe how many people are so eager to jump to that
around the country.
when, like you say, they're boys and they're active and stuff.
Cases, you can avoid surgery altogether.
Well, and it's interesting because I've met with some of these millennials and some of these younger guys, and their go-to for studying, their go-to for studying is Adderall, modafinil, Vigil, amphetamines, and I mean it's pretty much embedded in their brains that they can't live without this stuff in order to like rework. And so again, it's an interesting issue.
720-580.
Risperidol versus coffee.
With that
versus coffee,
right?
And
I have a little ADD too, and you know I struggle
Don't
with
you
the
think
book.
most people got a little bit of
12
something in them? Nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah, right.
Additional features include food trucks, giveaways, and
Risperidol, that's a tough road there. That's a strong one. Yeah, and a lot of the guys with schizoaffective, they start the Risperidol or the Haldol, and it works really well for them. And then they start to feel like they're better, and then they stop taking it. So a lot of them will do a shot because it's long-acting and it stays in their system.
But they don't go back when it goes off.
But then they don't go back, and then all that hallucinations, the voices, they start again. Yeah.
So does the body build up tolerance to stuff like that too? So they got to need stronger and stronger doses as they go? Or act shorter?
I really don't know the answer to that one.
You know, like I said, I had a teeth abscess. You brought up oxycodone. I mean, that's it was great. It took the pain down, but and then, like a stupid idiot, I just had a couple beers with it just to see how it would react. I mean, you know, it was a good time. Yeah. But next time I had taken it, and I did it wasn't such an effect.
I got Mark on the line. He said, because it's been a while since I've worked on one. He goes, but I can definitely answer general questions.
What is the biggest
addiction? He's up online.
In the law?
Well, you know,
and
I think we're about 50%
somebody called in about that too, and I was thinking the same thing.
What about it? And every once in a while you get like an amphetamine or a cocaine.
They can rebalance that.
I can see
it's really cool.
I know. It's socially acceptable.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino. Frank Duran, the Real Estate Man.com. He is the best. Frank Duran, the Real Estate Man.com. If you need anyone to buy or sell real estate, you won't find any better than Frank, and I'm serious. His team is there for you, even in a hot market. You need him even more, I believe me, to really sift through these offers. If you're listing your home, he'll never hold you to a long-term contract. 303-920-1622, 920-1622. Okay, let's talk. Michael, basically, had a life of misdiagnosis. He was told he was bipolar, manic, and a bunch of other things, partly schizophrenic, and was on medicines for 17 years. I'll bring up an attorney to listen. This is Mark Kranak. Mark does some criminal defense work and other stuff. He's on a referral list. I've known him for years. Mark, this is not a typical question, but Michael was on this medication for years. I'm going to assume he can prove that he was misdiagnosed, and he can prove that he was on the wrong medication and is now on the right medication. And he says he's really cleaned up his life as a result, and things are better now that he is not medicated with this wrong medication. He has some problems. He's autistic, and he does take some other meds. He's trying to work. He's trying to get his life together. But while he was misdiagnosed, and when he was around in his 30s, and you're still in your 30s, right, Michael?
Yes, I am.
How long
I'm
ago
35.
how long ago did this happen with the masturbation?
Well, actually, it happened in 2000. I really haven't had a case for 17 years.
Okay, so in 2000, you were arrested. Did these people complain? Were there 3 people?
No, it was just 2 people, 2 young children.
Oh. How old were the kids?
One was 9, one was 10.
Were they girls?
Yes.
And where, I don't want to get graphic, where, was it in a home? Was it on the street? Where was it?
It was on our property.
Outside?
Inside.
Inside, in their home, in your home?
My home.
Are they related to you?
One is.
Sister, brother, what? I mean, sister, niece, what? I meant, okay. Okay, so, a sister and her friend?
A sister and her friend, yes.
Okay, so, were the circumstances such, and there's a reason I'm asking this, for the circumstances, were the circumstances such, you were masturbating and they walked in, or did you literally do it to show them?
I did it to show them.
Okay. And when you were doing it, were you trying to touch them or go after them?
No.
Okay. How far away were they from you?
I'd say about 3 arm lengths.
Okay. And you said, hey, girls, I want to show you something like that? Or were you more scary? I mean...
It was a truth or dare thing.
Okay.
And really, I didn't force them to do anything except for... watch me what I was doing.
Now, when you were doing it, did somebody catch you, or did they yell and run away, and how did people find out?
Well, I was sitting there rolling a cigarette, and evidently the girls went over to the next door neighbor and told them.
Okay, so after you were done, they went and told someone, and then did that person come to you, or did they call the police?
They called the police on me.
They called the police. And you were arrested at that moment, or were you given a ticket? How did it work?
Well, they talked to the girls, both girls.
Did you admit it?
Well, yeah, I admitted it.
Okay, and they took you to jail?
They took me to jail. I was in jail for about 7 months, waiting for me to go to trial, or not trial, but waiting for me to take a plea.
You didn't have you didn't have bail?
I didn't have bail. No, I didn't have anywhere to go.
7 months in jail, and then what happened?
Well, my public defender asked me if I had any mental disorders, and at that point in time, I was kind of denying it because.
So you said no. You said no.
Right.
But you were on, during the 7 months you were in jail, were you on medicine?
I was on Depakote.
Is that for bipolar?
Yeah.
So how could you say you didn't have problems when, you were on medication? Anyway, so what happened then? What happened? You took a plea bargain, is that right?
I took the plea bargain.
What did you plead to?
I pled guilty.
To what? What charge?
Fifth degree felony and third degree, I forget what you call it.
So you had 2 charges, 1 felony and 1 misdemeanor, or were they both felonies?
One was, no, they're both felonies.
Okay, so then, go ahead.
One was third degree, as far as like, I don't know.
What was the punishment? What was the punishment?
I spent 5 years in prison.
Wait a minute. So in addition to the 7 months, you got another 5 years?
Yeah.
Holy crap. And this 5 years, was this, did you spend the whole 5 years?
I did 3 years, got out on mandatory parole, and then I went back.
Why?
And did 6 months. I went back for some, I don't really know. One day I went into my probation officer's office, and all of a sudden he just arrested me.
Were you still on the wrong medications?
Yes, I was.
Okay, what were you going to say, Eric?
Well, I was just curious if anything else had come up in between the time that you were charged and the time that you went to prison. What else happened in between that time?
Anything you mean that would add to it?
Yeah.
He was in jail.
I was in jail.
And so you went straight from jail to prison?
Yes, I did.
And so you served 3 years and went back for 6 months. So in all, you served 7 months, 6 months, plus 3, 4 years and a month, right?
Well, no. The time is kind of off because I went back and I did the remaining of my time. So I did the total 5 years, but forgive me for saying 6 months.
Okay, fine. Fine. So now, were you on parole?
I was on community parole.
Are you still on parole?
No, I've been on parole since 2005.
Okay. Now, you want to know, is there any way to get off the sexual registry? That's going to be a tough one based on the circumstances. But I don't know. Mark Kranak, have you ever heard of anyone getting off the sex registry?
Yeah, but I mean, after a while, I mean, sometimes the sentences, the criminal sentence could be you're on the registry for a particular amount of time. Sometimes it's a lifetime registry. You're on there for
5 years or 10 years.
What's that?
I was told only 10 years I had to register.
Well, how many years has it been?
It's been 17.
Well, if that was we'd have to look at the documents, in terms of the sentence. And if it's been 17 years, and if the sentence was you're going to be on the registry for 10, then what? Then obviously...
Right, you just make a motion to the court. You make a motion to the court. But, Mark, would you need to find out the details? Will a case number tell you that?
Yeah, a case number will, everything's online these days. So you should be able to access the closed criminal case file. Need basic information, Tom, like the defendant.
Here's what we'll do, Mike. We'll verify, Mike, we will verify that it's, that it was only 10 years you had to be registered. If not, then it's a whole different ballgame. But if it's only that they overlooked it and you have to make a motion, then maybe we can help you with that. But I just need to tell you, it's going to be an uphill battle no matter what. Okay? Now, would the wrong medication help, Mark, if he could prove that he was on the wrong medication?
I mean, it's obvious he's not going to have any impact on the underlying case. It's over with. In terms of getting off the sex offender registry, maybe. I doubt it, to be honest with you. But I'd have to. I don't know.
Okay.
Actually.
All right, Mark. That's it. Yeah. Well, that's an honest answer. Mark Kranak, a really good lawyer. DenverCriminalLaw.net. 303-999-3900. 303-999-3900. We'll look up his case. Get the case number and give it to Mark Kranak so we can look it up. Rocky's Auto, 63rd and Federal, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8. If that's all I had to say, that would be good, but I have more. You can go there for great deals on all used cars, trucks, SUVs, vans. They have a huge selection. And when I say selection, not just in price range, makes and models and years, but also colors. That's really important too. If you go up there, you'll see every color in the rainbow. They're great people, good deals, 40 lenders to choose from. You get variety there too, and better pricing because of their volume buying, and all prices are clearly marked. 303-426-4646, 63rd and Federal, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8.
This report is brought to you by Office Depot Office Max.
There's a few crashes being cleared off the drive in the metro area. Still that trailer fire on the west side on eastbound I-70 at C-470. The trailer fire's long out, but the shoulder...
Oh, I can't even imagine. Oh, I can't even imagine. Seriously, I can't. How about this? I've heard people can do public urination down now.
Yeah.
Here you are out
right after a ball game.
Right.
Yep.
That is crazy. Crazy.
Well, when you get to be my age, like the distance between here and my office, there might need to be a bathroom
break.
That
to me is the most crazy.
6:30.
Yeah.
So you've got just a couple of people calling
I don't blame them. They should.
I'm sure they're going to be happy with them.
Well, I'd say it's
fun companies I've ever seen, and that's good.
Some people they don't like it.
Because at Excel Roofing, the owner Jay Gretz knows how to do business. That's why he never puts a cancellation or penalty fee in his contract. He doesn't.
But you're right. Be on that registry.
He wants you to want to do business with him, and he never takes any money up front.
We only collects when the jobs just because we can't register them. I mean, my neighbors would probably hang me up.
There you go. It's tough anyway.
It's tough anyway. We're fortunate to be where we are because of all the political aspects. We have to take our neighbors' feelings and how they feel about us having assessments to be the treatment center in neighborhoods.
And that law, the law they try to broad base it and stuff. You should be able to separate out different, true pedophile or whatever and stuff. But I mean, or something. And there is no difference, right? You're in that category, right? You're a sex offender.
Yeah, and it sounds like he was probably about 18, and these girls are around 9 and 10 years old. At 18, like, it doesn't make a difference anymore. Like, he knew what was right and wrong. With DUIs, you don't get to claim, I got a DUI, I'm going to get out of it because I have a disability, or I have a disease. You don't get to claim that. You still put it in your body and drove.
What can you do to reduce your taxes? And the second class
Just get through life now without having anything on your record because everything is so microscopic versus when I was a kid. You know, you get away with a lot of stuff. It was drinking, driving, or fighting, or whatever.
And I think about the liabilities today of just letting your kids have a party and letting somebody drink at your party, and it gets out. You know, back in the day, as long as parents were containing the people, keeping them in the house and don't drive, right? Even though we did. But back then it wasn't as big of an issue. Absolutely. But now it's on Facebook, it's on CNN, and it's like, look what these parents did. Right. So much more scrutiny now.
No, when I went off to boot camp, my dad bought a keg and had, I mean, there's a lot of people that are around at the age. I was 18 and stuff, so most of my last friends were there. Somebody would have got hurt. It probably wouldn't have been a big deal back in 1975. But nowadays and stuff, it's, like you say, it's on Facebook, whatever, even if nothing happens. It's so major.
It's major, and I gotta tell you, because I remember there's been so many times when we've had to involve the police with a client where they've done such an amazing job. Our Nevada Police Department, Denver Police Department have come to one of our locations, and literally it was like having an ally, right? Really? Yeah, they really helped. But I've also been on the other side a few years ago where I saw, you know, I stopped because a guy was doing some weird stuff on the side of the road, and I called the police, and I actually saw the other side of, like, you know, what that could look like. And, meaning what? You know, I saw a clear case of where a police officer was, like, abusing this man, and I basically said, like, look, you're hurting this guy for no reason. And
what did they say to you?
He said, if you see what I see, you would be okay with the way that I'm doing this. And I thought, that's a broad brush. And if you see what I see in my business practices, I would demonstrate that what you're doing is wrong. But here was a guy that, you know, he was probably acting a little bit about out of fear.
The difference between politics and economics. Who? Wednesday morning starting at 7:06 here on 6:30 KHAP.
But I just want to say I've seen some really great, like, police officers do some.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, their interaction with us.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Hey, John, we haven't forgotten about you.
I know you've been waiting. I'll get right to you after Al here. I'm Tom Martino. By the way, the Raleigh House guest today, a rehabilitation center. And if you have any questions for Eric, the founder, give us a call, please. 303-713-TALK, or you can email us or Facebook us or whatever, and we'll get your question on email as well, live@troubleshooter.com. Al, what's going on with your postal problem?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. What's happening with you, sir?
Everything's going good. I'm just had a quick question.
Okay.
How I could get some help.
Okay.
I delivered a package on July 14th, and supposedly it was supposed to get there July 17th.
You delivered a package. You mean you sent a package?
Yes, through LaSalle, Colorado, U.S. Postal Service.
Okay, LaSalle. And what happened?
Well, that's a couple money orders in there I sent out, and they're supposed to be delivered to my wife's attorney for immigration, and they're supposed to be sent out to National Visa Center.
And no one knows where it is?
Nobody knows where it's at.
Jeez. I mean, it's lost. It's totally lost.
I've tracked it. I use the tracking number, which I don't have right now because I'm at work, but I've tracked it, and
yes,
it's telling me it's still in the same destination in Denver. So
it was sent from LaSalle to Denver.
Yeah, because from LaSalle to Denver, and then from Denver it was supposed to be shipped out to Miami, Florida.
But it never left Denver.
Never left Denver, and
so do they? If they have a tracking number, what are they doing about it?
Well, they're telling me they have to wait to see if it ships out or not. That's the only thing.
How long has it been?
Since the 14th of July.
Oh man.
And it's kind of, I need it delivered because it depends on my wife if it doesn't get in the attorney's hands in National Visa Center, it could depend on deportation.
I know. Oh wow. So your wife is awaiting this right now.
Right.
She's in Miami.
No, she's here in Colorado with me. But this payment was going to my attorney's office in Miami, which my attorney was going to send that to the National Visa Center.
How much was it?
One of them was for $585, and the other one was for $85.
So, was it just an envelope?
Yeah, it was just an envelope with a couple money orders in there, payment.
Well, then get your money order, get your money back and resend it.
I tried that, but they told me I couldn't get a refund.
Yes, you can. That's why you buy money orders.
Well, that's what I told them. I said, can't you just cancel those money orders?
Of course you can.
Them?
Do you have the
They
receipt?
told me no. Yes, I do.
Well, of course you can. We'll help you do that. We'll help you do that.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't realize if you have your, listen, man, hold on. We'll take your information. If you have the receipt, that's exactly what money orders are for. How can they possibly say you can't do that?
Yeah, that's the only word I'm getting, and I'm getting ignored by, I'm calling 1-800 numbers, I'm calling the local office, and they just tell me the same thing. I got to wait till they get delivered. I said, well, delivery date showed on the receipt. It's supposed to be delivered on the 17th, which it never has.
Are they post office money orders?
Yes.
Oh, they're post office money orders, right?
Yes.
That should be even easier to get. Listen,
I would think.
Give us who you've been talking to, and then don't we have a PR person with the post office that does a pretty good job?
We do. We've dealt with this before, so I'll get on that.
Hold on, and we'll try to help you here, man. 303-713-TALK. John. What's going on, John?
Are you talking to me, Tom?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Well, it's not good happening.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
I'm 73 years old, unlimited Social Security.
Yes, sir.
And I have a service dog that has tumors that need to be removed, at least one for sure.
How old is your dog?
He's 13 right now.
What kind?
He's a little Shih Tzu.
Okay, hold on a second, all right? Now listen, I promise you, I won't make you wait anymore. Allie, get him, and we'll talk to him right after this break. Meanwhile, find out what his problem is, Allie, and let's get working on it during the news. I'm Tom Martino.
We never send anything that needs to get there by USPS. All they track, all they can track is what office is in. I almost lost my insurance when I retired because it didn't get there. It got there the last day because it didn't get there that day.
These are some of the best asphalt shingles
FedEx
and they are
or UPS. They track everything right where it's at. USPS, they need to get there and not go there.
If you don't have an insurance claim,
I can't believe you can't cancel money orders. Boy, that's crazy.
You need 303-761-6400.
It's okay to have our phone on in here.
What do you think about? What do you think about having the same password for everything you do?
303-761-6400.
Isn't there? There's a special app. I don't know how it works, that takes care of all your passwords and stuff.
I'm tired of it.
I agree.
Well, then they make you change it, so then your universal keypad is different now because you got to change the password.
Oh, is that the way that works? I don't know how it works. I mean, I've probably got 100 items to change password. I got 4 pages. I got a Word document, and then like every 3 months I print it out and put it in my safe in case my computer totally
on Georgia land in South Pacific.
Oh man!
But you're right. I mean, because I changed every password by a little bit.
On Georgian territory.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The sanctions bill. The vice president has been talking tough
Yes,
on
sir.
Russia, and that continued today while addressing hundreds of Georgian and U.S. troops currently taking part in a military exercise. Fox's Kristen Fisher traveling with the vice president. A guilty plea to murder from a California man charged with killing his 5-year-old son after a trip to Disneyland. And prosecutors filing felony vehicular manslaughter charges against a California.
Did you see it on One News, Tom, where that guy killed his wife on a Alaskan cruise because she was laughing at him?
Did he throw her off?
I didn't read the whole thing. Did he throw her off or he just killed her and stuff? Apparently she was making fun of him and laughing at him and killed him.
Big change on Thursday, mostly cloudy.
with a high of 75. Office Depot Office Max is taking care of you with their Taking Care of Back to School sale. Get notebook filler paper for 1 cent with $5 minimum purchase. Hurry and save 5, limit 3 minimum purchase before tax. In store only.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for talk radio, which means you can take K-House wherever you go, whenever you go, anywhere. But iHeartRadio is more than radio. Tell us the favorite show you love, and the iHeartRadio app creates a custom station just for you. With the smartest conversations, you know what? It's that easy. And as you listen, thumbs up or thumbs down, we personalize the station to suit your taste. So right there on your phone, it's in your pocket. K-How and your own custom stations based on your choices. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
Nothing is more important than your health. Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of Fitness Gallery, where we sell the world's finest fitness equipment, like true treadmills, bikes, and ellipticals, consistently rated the best in the industry. Among Runner's World's top-rated treadmills for the last 25 years. And Tough Stuff Strength, for 46 years, carries a lifetime warranty on all parts. Don't waste your money on big box, internet, or commercial inferior products. At Fitness Gallery, for over 20 years, we've been providing the highest quality fitness equipment money can buy. During our floor model clearance sale going on now, save up to 40% off the lowest prices nationwide. Now is the time to invest in your health. Come in and visit one of our two convenient locations and try every piece of equipment before you buy. In Denver, 15th Avenue I-25, 1 block south of Grizzly Road, or Highland Ranch in the Promenade Shopping Center, University and C47. Check us out at fitnessgallery.com. Fitness Gallery, getting color on shapes and that. You'll have to do that with our computers, right? And that is the Troubleshooter Show.
Let's try to find a veterinarian we can call.
Okay.
Somebody who's used to be on the list if we don't have any.
I'm feeling down.
Hello, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, and this is radio at its best because it is media with a purpose. What we do is unlike anyone else, anywhere, when it comes to your life. We get on the air, we talk about your problem, and we solve problems, answer questions, take complaints, and we make referrals through referralist.com we're very proud of. Don't forget, we're live at Troubleshooter.com. Okay? Troubleshooter.com. And if you go to Troubleshooter.com, you can hit Watch Live, or you can go straight to Referralist.com, hit the link there, or you can go to Facebook or YouTube, or, of course, K-How Radio, 630 on the AM dial. We're here to help any way we can. And I say that every day, and I love it. Please tell people about it. I got to tell you, if you only tell one person, there is truly power in numbers when it comes to spreading the word about rip-offs and liars and cheats. It's just good information. And then our voices mean something. I always liken it to when you're pissed off or you're frustrated and you're in your car or at home and you go, God, I can't stand this, or I can't believe they did that to me. And there's no one to tell. You call this show and other like voices, they all get together and it makes a difference. Let's talk to John, who is an elderly man with an elderly dog, a 13-year-old Shih Tzu, and the dog needs surgery. Now, 13 is pretty old, but I imagine he loves this dog. It's a service dog. What does the dog do for you, John?
Well, he goes with me everywhere. He keeps me sane. And I mean, this dog loves everybody.
Now, have you accepted the fact that he's 13 and eventually? Okay.
Yes, I understand that, but everybody that sees him just can't believe they consider him a pup, because the way he runs around and he's real lively, No,
I understand. How much is this surgery he needs?
How much what?
How much will it be?
The vet said it costs between $700 to $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a fixed Social Security, and I'm handicapped, so I really can't afford anything.
Now, I'm not suggesting, I am suggesting you keep this dog if you love this dog, and we try to get this done for you and help you, trying to get people to help. And do you trust this veterinarian?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm thinking maybe I need a second opinion, too.
Nothing wrong with a second opinion. There is, guys, there is a place called, I believe it's Harrison Clinic or something that comes to mind. They do a sliding scale for people on a fixed income, I think. look that up in Denver. That comes to mind. Also, we should check with people like the Dumb Friends League just for referrals. And I'm telling you, man, I feel for you. Here, John, we're going to try to find someone who can give you a second opinion. What part of town do you live?
Lakewood.
Okay. And we can help you with a GoFundMe site.
That'd be wonderful because I have no computer and I don't know how to do anything on the computers.
Okay. We can help you with that. We'll listen, we'll donate a good chunk. We just need to get this started. I think this is important. I can tell. And you know, it may not sound that important, but it's important. It's important.
It's very important to me, Tom.
What's his name?
Coda.
What is it, Cody?
Coda, K-O-D-A-H.
Okay. And you've had him his whole life?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Is he basically, he lives with you? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? Anybody?
Just me and him.
Just you and him. He is a lifesaver.
Married, but I've been divorced for since '89.
Okay. So, why'd you get a dog when you got him 13 years ago? Why'd you make that decision? Were you lonely?
Actually, my ex-wife had the dog first.
Okay.
But she's not a dog person.
And is he smart?
Oh, yeah. He's real smart.
And so, as a service dog, do you classify him more as an emotional support dog?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, yes.
We had a call from a caller that said in Fort Lupton there is an organization called Every Creature Counts, and they only ask for a little bit of money, and they take care of people.
Let's call them and see. Let's call them and see. We can help them. John, I'm sure we're going to get this done, man. I hear in your voice that you have a best friend who needs your help, and I think he helps you more than you help him. I think that this is a kind of thing that if people understood the bond that you can have with living creatures, they will know what I mean. Because I have felt that bond before, John, and I can hear it in your voice, okay? So we're going to help you. One way or another. One way or another, we're going to find a way to get this done, okay?
Okay.
Now, you don't have a computer, you don't have anything you can do this with, but we want to get a picture of the dog as well, and you. We're going to need that for our effort. And so, Allie, if you could get his address and arrange for, not arrange, but just get his information so we can get out there. Wow. This is why we do the show, folks. You got important things, you got less important things, you got emotional things, you got legal things. And the thing the other hour, people were very upset with this sex offender who wanted to get off the registry. They were upset I was talking to him or trying to help him. Listen, I'm trying to give him information. And he said he was misdiagnosed on medication, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he did this masturbation in public or in front of two little girls. It was a terrible thing. He might be a terrible guy. It sounds like he turned his life around. It's been 17 years, and it sounds like maybe if it's true about the medication and stuff, that maybe he shouldn't be on that list. So I'm not making the call. I just gave him the information on how to do it and how to find out about it. So I'm sorry if it offended people. It made me feel a little icky too. But I know there are extenuating circumstances with a lot of things, and there's no way to, no way to discern for sure which way to go. Sometimes you just got to use your gut. We have with us in the studio Raleigh House, and Eric is the founder and owner, and he has any questions you have on addiction or help. We've covered a few things, and we'll do more. And the good news is we're getting some email traction and some calls off the air. Now, I don't blame you. This is a hard topic. So I'll ask some of the questions I'm getting on email in a little while. Willie, you have a follow-up. What was going on with Samsung? As refresh our audience on what we did.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. I called yesterday morning, and I've been having problems with a Samsung 55-inch 4K, top of the line TV. I bought in November, and about a little over a month and a half, I've been having nothing but problems with it. Vertical lines across the screen, no picture.
And what was the reason you called us? Were they ignoring you? What was going on?
Yeah, I've had nothing but hell with them for all that time. They have a local repair shop that came out to the house at least 3 times, exchanging parts, at least 3 of them, to no avail. Every time they would leave, it would revert back to the same situation. Last I called the corporate office, they would not respond back to me.
So then what?
Well, okay, and then I called the show. Somebody did their magic. I think it was Daphne. And that was
of course.
Yesterday that I called. Well, lo and behold, this morning, I got a call from the corporate office. They're going to refund me the full credit that I paid, which was like $1,200.
What?
At Best Buy to buy whatever I wanted with it.
Are you kidding me? Whoa! So you're going to get a $1,200 credit?
Yes.
See?
And I bought it in November, and like I said, you guys did your magic. You guys are awesome. Kudos to, while I'm on here, shout out to Steve the Painter. I use him on your referral list. I've used Compass. They saved me over $700 on my insurances. I've used the mud jacking on the driveway of my house. They did an awesome job. So
wow, you're a real Troubleshooter fan, and I'm so happy we made a difference in your life, Willie. Thank you so much for calling us. All right. All right, so what else? Well, 2 used cars with a service contract. What do you need to know, John?
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Good. I got the contracts in front of me. What's happening?
All right. Well, my wife and I bought 2 used cars on July 11th.
Oh, yeah.
Our 2 daughters. And at the time we purchased them, you know how they try to sell you the service contract.
Yeah.
We were a little misled about how much it was going to be, but that's a little bit besides the point. So after thinking about it, and I start looking at this service contract, we decide that we want to cancel it. So I call the place where we bought the cars at, and they're telling me that the service contract is non-refundable.
You know, we're getting more and more of this. And I remember there were rulings in the state of Colorado that you could not have non-refundable contracts like this. This says in the cancellation, it says this service agreement is non-cancelable unless required by the lender, if any, financing this service agreement. Then it says this: if cancellation is required, blah, 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 okay? Then it says here, note, in the event this service agreement is properly transferred to an individual within 30 days of your purchase of this agreement, it says the initial period, and no claims have been made under the agreement, the amount of the refund shall be equal to the full amount paid for this agreement. So I don't even know why they say that. I don't understand why they say that. Why do they...
Tom, you know what they told me when I called and read that part to them? They tried to tell me that is only if you total the car. I said, what?
No, it says here if it's transferred. It says if it's transferred to another person purchasing your vehicle. So it wouldn't apply to you anyway, but I don't know what this means.
Further on, it goes on to say if you decide to cancel it within 30 days, it's fully refundable.
What? I don't see that.
Down bottom.
If cancellation, where? I don't see it.
If the extended service agreement is canceled within 30 days of your purchase of this agreement, and no claims have been made under the agreement, the amount of the refund...
No. That's if it's transferred. If it's properly transferred. It doesn't say if this extended service agreement is canceled within... This is very ambiguous. Very ambiguous.
Well, it's kind of saying if you transfer it to, like, if I sell a car.
No, but then it says if it's canceled. It says no. It says you can transfer it, or if it's canceled in the first 30 days. Listen, you know, we need to get a ruling on this. I'll tell you why. I know people have been taken to court and lost on the refund thing, but more and more of these things are saying non-refundable. We can't do it right now, but I would like to get Daphne, someone from the State Attorney General's office to give us an opinion on this. I had heard that non-refundable service agreements are not allowed in Colorado, and that you can sue people and get the refund if it's unused. But I'm not sure. What is the circumstance with you?
Listen to this. When I did research on the internet, I Googled Colorado service contract cancellation, and what pops up is House Bill 14-1199.
Hold on, 14-11.
1199. And if you look at section 10-4-1603.
Yeah. But that's a bill.
6.
That's a bill, though. And that's not a law.
Yeah, when it went into effect.
Let me look at it, okay? I'm gonna let me look at it. Hold on a second. I'll take a look at it. And then this is very interesting. Very interesting. Hold on. Because, you know, you could be right here. I would like to tell you about Fuller Law and John Fuller, because we have situations all the time that come up on this show about personal injury. You might have heard it. People want to know, what are their rights? Well, you have the right to collect from the at-fault party if you have damages. So what John Fuller does is first finds out if someone is at fault, and then what is it worth? What are the damages? He'll give you advice even if you don't hire him. You should have an initial consultation. It will cost you nothing. And even when he hires, or when you hire him, you only pay if he collects a small portion of the settlement. Fuller Law. John Fuller is fully versed in all personal injury law, whether it be motor vehicle, or you're on a bicycle, or you trip and fall, or medical malpractice. Whatever it is, give John Fuller a call, please, and ask him. Don't listen to a friend of a friend of a friend and a brother-in-law's connection and your cousin's best friend. Please, go to an expert, someone I know and trust, John Fuller. PersonalInjuryCO.com, PersonalInjuryCO.com, 303-597-4500, 303-597-4500.
This report is brought to you by Napa Auto.
Tuesdays, on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Please give yourself extra time. There is a rollover wreck affecting the drive on inbound Pena just west of Tower. It's also affecting outbound Pena Boulevard as well. Give yourself plenty of time on that stretch. Also, watch out for a motorcycle crash.
I can't tell you how many cars I've bought, and I get calls all day long by extended warranty companies. I don't know how to get on all my files. They're the worst thing. They're really...
And it looks like there's a crash.
They don't cover. Oh, I had one used car, and actually did cover.
High of 87.
This is my ultimate.
Right now, 2 clouds.
Yeah, I've had some good luck with them in the past, but
this month at
you know, all the cars I
Napa
purchase now have
stores, the Napa Electric battery comes with a prepaid Visa card with $15
So in the long run, it would make sense.
And save yourself some money with a Napa Legend battery.
You know, when you need your car serviced, where do you go?
I want you to try Pro Auto Care. You will love them. You will love Al Aramis at Pro Auto Care. You will love the whole team. His son just joined them. They are a family-run operation, and they treat you like family. They have 2 locations near Evans and I-25, near Bowles and Santa Fe, for regular maintenance, for repairs, for whatever you need for your car. They keep track of it for you. They email you when things are coming due for maintenance. It's like having a car nanny. Not only do they have the excellence and knowledge, they have honesty and integrity. All of the ingredients you want for your repair shop. 303-PRO-AUTO is the phone number. And the website, 303-PROAUTO.com.
Take AIM, Affordable Interest Mortgage. Pay off your home in half the time without changing one penny of your spending habits. Need access to your equity for cash out?
Do you want me to get the Attorney General's office right now? Because I guarantee Annie is not going to answer the phone. She calls me back. But did you want the State Attorney General? to answer a question. I was on the phone and I heard you say it.
We can get them on for tomorrow. I want this. I want this put to bed. More and more people are saying they bought an extended warranty and it's non-cancelable.
Okay.
And I thought
then I'll
that
send that to her. She will answer me back. She just doesn't answer.
I just want to know what is the situation in Colorado when it has to do with non-cancelable service contracts.
Okay, then I'll write that down and I'll get in touch with her after. She had never answered her phone or cell phone.
I think you're supposed to be able to get a refund on the prorated amount, aren't you?
That's what I thought, but you know what? So many people think stuff, but when it comes right down to it, you know, I actually remember it, but I gotta tell you.
I'm reading something on automotive.com and says the worst case scenario is the non-refundable extended warranty. Yes, they exist and usually are not sold by any reputable company.
A non-refundable, right?
Now, there might be states where Colorado may have something legal and stuff that keeps that.
Showroom at 4800 Washington Street, Denver, or online at buyandbuild.net. You will be thrilled with the thousands you save at Buy and Build.
Are you taking Viagra for ED? Well, now you can get silver.
Google's amazing, but it doesn't give you the perfect thing. You have sometimes big.
Google or the Oracle?
Oh, it's pretty amazing. It's like say having a library at your hands.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, when you think about the knowledge we have at our fingertips, God Almighty, I am so blown away by it. I love technology, man. It's changed that part, absolutely. And I've embraced everything. You know, when I talk about, my peers that are around my age, they're just such old farts. And I think, how can they possibly get by? So ridiculous.
How can you possibly get by without a computer and going on the web? When I was younger, researching stuff on library, holy cow, that's work. That's work. Going back in the library, 40 years ago, going in the library and research something, it takes a long time.
God forbid you actually had to stand up to get some information.
I mean, just to find it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the internet.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. We are going to get the Attorney General on this non-refundable service contract and get it over with. We need to get a definitive answer here. It used to be, I mean, I know it. I was around when the courts ruled against a particular dealership. It was on South Broadway years ago, was not allowing people to cancel them. But I don't know if things have changed. So let's find out. John, is that all that you had to talk about? Is that what you want? Because we're going to find this out and get you back on. We're going right to the Attorney General.
Okay, yeah, that's all I had to talk
really,
about.
It's ambiguous, too. And this whole thing, I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing you didn't like about the deal? You didn't want to pay for the service contracts, right?
No. You know, and I understand that I did sign it. But
well, what's wrong with the deal in addition?
Later, and I want to cancel it.
I understand, but I said, is that the only thing wrong, the extended warranties? The deal itself, you're not... the deal's okay?
No. Yes, the deal's okay. I just want to cancel the extended warranty.
And you should be able to, I think. We'll see. Dave's got a question, or David has a comment on student loan. Go ahead, David.
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
Yeah, if I heard the story correctly, this poor guy that co-signed on the loan, if it's a student loan, he can never get out of that thing until it's paid. And they're not dischargeable in bankruptcy, I found out.
Well, what loan are we talking about? Did I make a comment on it?
Well, there was a gentleman on that said he co-signed for his goddaughter on a school loan.
That was a while ago. Yes. And I think he said it was a private loan.
Right.
It was not a guaranteed student loan.
More likely a equity line.
I think it was like a signature loan.
Okay, if it wasn't a private student loan?
I do not think it was. I mean, but I understand exactly what you're saying. If it's a private student loan, even he could not get out of it.
Right.
You're right about that. And he did say, though, he signed it so she could go to college. He did say that. But I don't remember, David, or I didn't ask if it was an actual student loan or not, but that's good to know, and thanks for reminding me.
But on student loans, they don't require a cosigner, correct?
That's true, too. A regular student loan would not require a cosigner. You're right. So, but, you know, anyway. Dave, what's happening with you? Another Dave. Hi, Dave. You want to know about starting an LLC?
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
No, it was, Chris.
It's what?
Oh, it's Chris. That's the name.
I'm sorry.
C-H-R-I-S.
Okay, I got the wrong name. Okay, go ahead, Chris. What's happening? What can I help you with?
Yeah, no worries. Real quick, though, you were talking about maybe talk shows with the same host. You know, if Art Bell was still hosting Coast to Coast, he'd probably be longer than you.
Maybe he would have been. I don't know how long Art Bell was on, but it doesn't matter. He's not on anymore anyway. That show, though, the show did not change, though. That's a long-running show, but I don't know how long it's been running.
Were you ever on to George Norrie and all that at one point, UFOs and...
Did I ever listen? I listened all the time. I loved listening to that.
Oh, yeah, conspiracy theories.
And I listen, I love that kind of stuff. That doesn't mean I subscribe or buy it, but I love listening to stuff like that. I listened to Art Bell more than Norrie I listen to every now and then, but I loved Art Bell's show. I loved it.
Very competent talk show host. In any event, I've been doing this landscape thing. I posted an ad on Nextdoor here in Littleton, and I just blew up. Ton of responses. I charge $12 an hour. Just do real light landscape.
Wow!
Basically pulling weeds.
Listen, for $12 an hour. Goodness, that's great.
And so obviously it's all kind of under the table income, and I'm wondering at what point do I need to, because it's about 50-50 like checks and then cash payments, so at what point do I need to start thinking about, I don't want to get in trouble with the IRS.
Well, listen, then if truly, I mean, if you're asking me how to do it right, you got to do it from the beginning right. It's not at what point, it's the beginning. You start out right. Yeah, and if I were you, I would do an LLC. It's very easy to organize online. Just do a simple LLC. You're the sole owner, and it's not complicated. In that way, when you put money in the LLC, you can do some accounting, take the money out for yourself, don't leave much in it, and then if ever somebody sues you for breaking something or they accuse you of ruining something, they can't get anything beyond the LLC.
Okay, but I mean for taxes, am I going to owe FICA taxes? What's that threshold?
Okay, when you are self-employed, and you claim self-employed income, they will assess you a self-employment tax, and that covers all of that. You don't have to worry about breaking it out on payroll. They will take care. You can do all of that. Now, if you do a bunch of money, the second year, not the first year, but the second year, they're going to want you to pay estimated taxes, like every 3 months or so you don't pile it up at the end. Because let's say at the end you were so successful, you're ending up owing 25 grand at the end of the year. They don't like that. They want their portion of the money as you make it, so they make you do estimates.
Okay, right now I'm doing about $500 a week cash. So.
Yeah. So listen, you know, as I said, to be legal, that's enough money where you need to have an accounting, you know, even if it's cash, the IRS says there is no under-the-table money. But again, I'm not making any moral judgments here. Do what you want. So many people work cash and don't claim it. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you a lot of people do it. But to do it right, you get a little entity, you deposit all your money, and you keep track of your expenses, and you do it like a little business. And it's not expensive. H&R Block or someone very simple can do your taxes. As you grow, you can get more sophisticated, and you can use our accounting firm. We love our accounting firm, and you can, Accounting for Success, by the way, you can use them, or any kind of small accounting firm would help you, and it's not going to be a lot of money. So I am getting emails I need to get to about rehab. We do have the Raleigh house here. And Eric, they want to know, and inevitably this comes up, how do you get your addict into rehabilitation? Even if they call you, how do you even approach the subject if you've never talked about it before? Is there, I mean, what would you tell someone?
You know, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times family members will dance around the idea, that they think by talking to them it's going to actually make it worse, and there's no better thing than the truth in this
So what do you do? Do you say, I think you should go to rehab?
Yeah, well, a lot of times family members are still enabling. They're letting the loved one live in their house. They're supporting them. And one of the easiest ways is to say, hey, we love you. We notice that this is going on, and we need and want you to get into treatment. Wait for the response.
Okay.
And if the response goes bad, then the family can actually start to pull resources. You can help
You say,
them.
listen, well, then you can't just live off of us if you're going to continue to do this.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's no secret that I struggled with my own problems in the past, and I never got better until my dad finally said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let my dollars be the ones that kill you anymore. And I think it was a couple weeks after that I made change.
It's called tough love. So you say to your addict, if they are depending on you, listen, we love you, we want you to go into rehab, and it's you know, we can talk about it, but we need this done. And if they say no, say, we're not going to support you any longer. We're not going to support you in your habit. We're not going to enable you. I think even addicts understand that kind of wording. I mean, they understand, hey, they're not stupid, they're not going to do it anymore. All right, thank you. We'll talk about more of that. If you have any questions, you can call us 303-713-TALK. Did you have something to say, Daph?
Yeah, we've had a couple of people call asking for Chris's number, but he hung up before I could get it. So if he wants to call back.
Oh, the landscaper. Well,
yeah.
Okay, but let's be careful. You know, we don't know anything about him. But
True.
He said $12 an hour and the phone rings. Okay, you know, I mean, and listen, all I know is people want a deal, right? And half the people that call the show is because they were looking for a deal. They had a problem, right? Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ. You want to talk about a deal? You know, this is for adults. They also have a child's version. So everything I say is actually better exponentially for children. Just remember that. Better. Now, with adults who want straight, beautiful teeth and a beautiful smile, they usually do veneers. Do you know that a mouthful of veneers is about 60 grand? I'm not kidding. And your mouth, your teeth are still crooked underneath. You still have the same gum problems. You still have the same jaw alignment. It doesn't correct anything. It covers it up. But Dr. Kent Lawson at Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ can give you a beautiful smile for a fraction of that cost. No, it's not instantaneous over a week like veneers, or a week or two. It is over a 2-year period, but listen to what happens. Without surgeries or extractions, he has developed a method to expand your palate. Yes, even as an adult, he has proven your palate is not fused, and it can be widened gradually with his appliance. Then, and it's not a brace, it's something you wear at night. It's unbelievable. Then, when it widens, your teeth start straightening out. He can then give you braces Invisalign to do the rest. It all takes just 2 years or less. And what you have is not only now a beautiful smile, you have your real teeth, and the gums are straight, the jaw is realigned, which helps you with sleep apneas or TMJ or other problems. So it's a full mouth restoration. Dr. Kent Lawson, 303-690-0100, 303-690-0100. Now, a small note on children. If he gets them early enough with these malleable mouthpieces you wear, they're not hard as rock, you wear them at night. For children, if you get them early enough, there's a possibility they won't even need braces. Dr. Kent Lawson, 303-690-0100.
This report is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts.
If you're heading out towards DIA, give yourself plenty of time. There is a rollover crash on inbound Pena just west of Tower. That's
I'll give them 14 an hour.
Your parents alive. Don't be making the drive on outbound Pena
How old's
Boulevard.
your dad?
Give yourself
74.
You got to catch a flight. Also, watch out
See
for a
him good health?
motorcycle wreck on Tower Road.
He's doing okay. You know, he retired, sold the business, and that was a lot of identity, so he started to slow down a little bit.
What business did he have?
He owned the Aurora Steakhouse.
Oh,
Sixth Avenue.
Started. That's a heritage.
Yeah, started it in '76 and sold in like 2007.
Is this still open?
6:30.
Is this still open?
It's open. Different owners. Like here, the guy, one of the managers from Shotgun Willie's actually just purchased it. So, yeah.
With a Legend. And save yourself some money with a Napa Legend battery.
When it comes to vital home services, like plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains, I want a combination of things. First, I want honesty. Okay, because so many times people call this show and they need this or they need that when they don't really need it, or they were sold a bill of goods and they're overcharged. So Plumline Services, they're my go-to people. I've known Jeff, the owner, the founder, since he started with himself and a couple of vans. Now, they are a beautifully sized company now serving the entire metro area and beyond. Plumline Services. Now, in addition to the honesty, of course, they have the expertise. They have the quality products, and they have the dedication to wonderful service. You make appointments, and they're there on time first. Then, all prices are quoted up front before any work begins, and 100% satisfaction is guaranteed. And remember I told you about the honesty part? They will do free second opinions. So if you're told you need a furnace, make sure. If you're told you need a septic system or a drain cleaning, make sure. And that Plumline Services has their own drain division. They don't hire subcontractors for that, like most companies do. So call Plumline Services. Yeah, they want to take a shot at your business. So what? Give them a second opinion. You have nothing to lose. 303-586-1086. 303-586-1086. PlumlineServices.com.
If you're over 40 and concerned about any of the following, stay tuned for a
special free bottle offer. Are you concerned?
What does he do now, your dad?
Would you like to promote
hang out?
Yeah, he picks up the mail.
That's really tough for you know, guys. Because if you're in restaurants, he's probably working 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
I mean, you do lose your sanity.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was all wrapped up inside of that, without a lot of external things. And he gets older, you know.
Would they allow him to go back and manage part time?
No, that would be the perfect. No, they sold. He left. He sold. He left.
Get your free bottle today. Just pay for shipping and
But he picks up the mail, does all the processing of like all of my business mail.
Oh, okay.
It's nice for him. It keeps him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you pay him good.
I do.
1-800-218-9032.
Keep our schedule full. Seasonal incentives. Oh, yeah. Hi.
My dad was a farmer. He, how old was 67, 68.
All services for
But then he just went around helping all the kids with their little houses and stuff. He's pretty good at
Nothing is more important than your health. Hi, I'm Donnie, owner of Fitness.
He was doing that stuff.
World's finest fitness equipment. Going on now, save up to 40%
They got him
off.
going
And clearance items. Everything's on sale. True treadmills, ellipticals, and bikes carry the industry's best warranty. Runners World's top-rated treadmills for over 25 years. Tough stuff strength equipment.
You're going to use standing up in states for a lot?
No, we're all here in Colorado.
Well, I thought you said you were looking at going to Minnesota.
No, well, there's a it's a refund on the service contract provider fee, not paid. Just the facts and the reaction.
Denver's Talk Station, 630 KHOW.
Hi, Tom Martino here. I looked up this House bill. Now, I'm not sure if and when it became law, or, I mean, I'm confessing my ignorance here. I really don't know the letter of the law, or if it's a law, but it appears that if this House Bill 14-1199 is law, and it stays the way I read it in this draft, that it would outlaw non-refundable contracts. I want to look into it further. And Dan, maybe you could too. You want to write that down, and let's do some research on that. Deputy Dan is with me, Mark and Suzanne, my producer Suzanne, who's worked with me for, 30 years, and her husband, Mark Major, who also works with me. They're on vacation. So 303-713-TALK. Get your calls in. We still have plenty of time. Speaking of non-refundable, Mike has a non-refundable lift ticket, right?
Yes.
And what about it?
Actually, I have two. I have two Vail lift tickets, and I'm wondering why they wouldn't be treated like gift certificates. I mean, I understand if one season the price goes up from 2016 to 2017 or whatever, paying the difference. But if I possess two lift tickets that I didn't use,
well, did they expire?
Yeah, all lift tickets are currently that way, and I'm just wondering if Colorado law, it would fall under the Colorado law that you can't, you can't allow gift certificates to expire.
Well, first of all, the law regarding gift certificates, it doesn't say they can't expire. It doesn't say that. I don't know what you're talking about. What law are you talking about gift certificates?
I was under the impression that gift certificates are supposed to be legal tender, and you can't like make them depreciate over time, and you can't make them expire because they're just basically exchanged for cash tender. So why would one be able to benefit from making a gift certificate quote expire when it's basically good as money?
It prohibits expiration dates and service fees. Okay, but I don't think they can be forever though. I thought there was a revision about that. I have to look it up.
And you were going to contact the Attorney General, so
hold on. I'm gonna find out. But I think it's a simple law though, and I do believe that the original intent, and I'm going to check it. You're right about non-expiration, but you said it a different way. You said not allowed to expire, meaning I think they can have service fees. I'm not sure, which would make it expire over time, unless that part. And again, I have so many laws in my head. I got to remember that one on the gift certificates. But in any case, it depends on how you. Let's just say you're right about the gift certificate. Let's not even go there. But now, is a lift ticket then a gift certificate? That would be the question. Is it? And
I understand a season pass expiring for one whole season, you get many opportunities. But if I purchase a lift ticket or 2 lift tickets, and for whatever reason I don't get to use them, I don't know why I wouldn't be able to use them the next season. I mean, they got their money, but I never got to use.
You know what? If it's a prepaid card, this does specifically, the law I am looking at does talk about any prepaid thing. But a lift ticket, is that prepaid? I mean, is that considered? I guess it is if it's a year lift ticket, isn't it? You might be able. Listen, Mike, you might be able to make a case here. You have any opinions on it, Eric? I saw you perching there. I'm looking here. Okay, it's a very short law. Hold on. Gift card, blah blah blah. Does not limit. Let me just see here. A prepaid telecommunications card, technology card, like iTunes. This section, blah blah blah. Okay, here's what it says, plain and simple. The issuer shall remain. Okay, here's what it says. It is unlawful for any person or entity to sell to a purchaser a gift card that contains a service fee, a dormancy fee, that's where it just sits idle, an inactivity fee, a maintenance fee, or any other type of fee. But it doesn't, I don't see where it's addressing expiration, the violation, blah, blah, blah. But I don't see, I'm looking for expiration, and I don't see it. But I'm still looking, and I'm on the air live, so it's kind of hard.
It's a great topic. I think
yes, but you know what? Hold on to it, Mike. Mike, in fact, I want you to contact us. I mean, again, I want you to remind us, and we'll take your name and number. Allie, would you take this down and mark it follow up on non-refundable on gift cards and lift tickets? Allie, did you hear me? Hello? Okay. We'll get your information, Mike. And wouldn't that be something, though? Could you imagine if we make the argument that a lift ticket is kind of a gift card? Because here's how they define it. Listen, and tell me if you think, Deputy Dan and Eric, if you think this applies to a lift ticket. Gift card means, this is according to the law in Colorado, gift card means a pre-funded, tangible, or electronic record of a specific monetary value evidencing an issuer's agreement to provide goods, services, credit, money, or anything of value. A gift card includes, but is not limited to, a tangible card, an electronic card, stored value card, or certificate or similar instrument card, or tangible record, all of which contain a microprocessor chip, magnetic chip, or other means for the storage of information, and for which the value is decremented upon each use. A gift card does not include a pre-funded, tangible, or electronic record issued by or on the behalf of a government agency, a certificate that is issued only on paper, I don't even know what that means. A prepaid telecommunications or technology card. So this is what it does not include. A card or certificate issued to a consumer pursuant to an awards, loyalty, or promotional program where money was not exchanged, or a card that is donated or sold to a charitable organization for fundraising purposes. This shall not apply to gift cards that are unable with multiple sellers of goods or services, that are usable, with multiple sellers of goods or services. This exception shall not apply to a gift card usable only with affiliated sellers of goods and services. So, is that a lift ticket or not?
Well, it seemed to me like a lift ticket would actually be the product, whereas a gift card is something that you would use to get the product. That would be my argument if I was...
the lift ticket is not a product.
But it's the tangible, and then you get to use that to basically have a service, which is to ski down the hill.
But doesn't it represent a prepayment?
But you're talking about a month or a yearly lift ticket, or this is like for...
I don't know what he's talking about.
Because a yearly lift ticket, that word you said, decremented, every time you use it, it decreases in value. A lift ticket, a yearly lift ticket, would not decrease in value as you use it.
Okay, people, what do you think? I mean, I'm reading the statute, though, and it says pre-funded tangible or electronic record of a monetary value for goods, services, credit, money, or anything of value. A gift card includes an electronic card or stored value card. We got comments on this, then I have to take a break. A quick comment, Jason. What's your comment?
Yeah, well, didn't you just say that it doesn't apply to something that's only printed on paper?
I don't even know what that means. It does not apply to, it says, a certificate issued to a consumer. It says only a gift certificate that is issued only on paper.
Yeah, like a ticket, like a lift ticket. It's like you only have the paper ticket, or like a Rockies game, a paper ticket. Or you can go to places that...
But isn't that paper ticket, but that paper ticket, it's issued there, but don't they have a record of it somewhere? I don't know. You could be right. I gotta take this break, and we got a lot going on. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Pure water choices. That's something we all want. Pure water choices. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you have a home, let's get right down to it. You don't have to do all these fancy, big, giant programs. All you need is a filtration system. But here's what I love about Al, the master plumber and the owner behind Pure Water Choices. When he sells a system, he'll be straight with you, and he'll tell you exactly what they do. And he will do it for the whole house or a point of use. He gives free evaluations. But here's what I love. He takes all the BS out of it. A filter is only for two things. You have the carbon filters for gases, and then you have the media filters for all of the sediment, no matter what it is, trace chemicals, trace minerals, medications. Yes, even in today's water, there are all kinds of things that get through. It doesn't mean it's going to kill you, but it's not great for you. Pure Water Choices will explain how to filter these things out, and you can only do it with a combination filter. And Al's the only one who sells these and talks about them. Everyone else will just give you a carbon filter. It's only for gases, folks. It's only for gases. Or they'll just give you a paper filter, only for sediment. Very few people have a combination filters like Pure Water Choices. Listen, you can get a free evaluation from him. Call 720-219-7818. 720-219-7818. PureWaterChoices.com.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's.
Progress being made on Pena Boulevard. Looks like that rollover crash has been cleared off of Pena Boulevard.
I thought they were talking about like a 4-pack. You buy like a 4-pack, and then you're only good for that.
Guys, this is a good discussion.
But if you buy a yearly lift ticket,
downtown
that's
on northbound I-25.
That's only going to be good for that year. Yeah. Because as you use it, because say as you use it, it doesn't, like you said, decremented. That means every time you use it, it's one less.
Yeah.
Every time you use it, it's another buck. Like you bought to the Rockies game, a season pass for the Rockies game. You know, they're not going to say, well, it goes on to the next year.
Save 5% on every purchase.
But if you bought a 4-pack of lift tickets, that could be like a gift card.
You're not allowed to have an expiration. No, it doesn't address it. Nothing here addresses expiration.
Retired or planning for retirement? Retirees.
That's amazing. It doesn't say expiration.
No, it doesn't. There's not one thing here. Look it up. Here it is.
No, what is it?
Senate Bill 10-155.
Every Saturday on 6 p.m. You're invited to attend my free retirement classes on Saturday morning, August 12th. The first class.
This is why you need
it. Your retirement. If you
10- what?
for retirement, taxes could be your largest expense. What can you do to reduce your taxes? And the second class, 7 retirement threats and mistakes to avoid, so you don't outlive your money. In these classes, I'll share important concepts and questions you need to consider to make the right decisions for your financial future. Seats are limited.
It seems like the two differences between gift card and lift tickets or even concert tickets would be that the tangible is actually the thing that you're giving to somebody,
right?
Whereas the gift card is something that you're giving somebody to go get something else with it. But then the question is like at what point do what's the variance of those?
Well, for a concert ticket, it's for that day. You know, whereas a gift card, you know, what they're saying is you can use it and it takes a little bit of value off. It's $50 over here, you go do $10 over here. But it's got to say it's what.
All the time.
I'm a slow reader when it comes to these things.
But then how would an unlimited ski pass work?
For a season or
yeah, what would that be? Unlimited ski pass.
They don't have one, do they?
He lives here.
Per season.
Yeah, I think you can get like a unlimited pass, but then how would you measure?
What do you think an unlimited ski pass for life?
If
they offered it, break out your American Express Gold card.
They did that for Sirius Radio. You know, when they were having issues and stuff.
How much?
I think I know a guy did for $400.
I would have done that.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome.
303-713-TALK. Very interesting discussion. Read the bill, folks. See what you can find. I don't see anywhere where it talks about expiration dates, though. The Senate bill, what did I say it was?
10-155.
Senate bill, SB 10-155. See what you think. Okay, I got to go. Joe's got a comment. Go ahead, Joe. What's your comment?
I was just going to say, what you're buying when you buy a ticket is a ticket to use in that season. And it says right on the ticket, this season, you know, the year. And once that season is over, that ticket is no longer valid.
I mean, I get it. I get your point. And you don't think there is any way that it could be construed?
No,
okay.
No, it's based on the cost of operating. There's probably a capacity of how many they can issue, which they probably don't reach. But
yeah,
I think it's for a season. And when and you can use it any day in the season. So, and it's transferable. But once the season's over, it's no good.
Okay, that's a good thought. 303-713-8255. I'm going to take people who have been waiting. Let's go right to Cheryl. Cheryl, what's happening, Cheryl?
It's what's not happening.
Uh-oh, what's going on?
So I retired from the place that I worked for 26 years. I retired in December, and they have a discrepancy of 4 years on my years of service, which I've been trying to get them to figure out.
How many years of service are they discrepping?
4. I worked for them for 26. They're saying I worked for 22.
Why? I mean, how did how did they come up with your start date?
My start date is on record of my first day when I worked for them.
And you agree with the start date?
Absolutely.
Well, then if you agree with the start date and you know when you're going to stop, it's either 26 or 22.
Well, I worked for them for 26 years, but they say that I took a 4-year leave of absence.
Okay, well, when?
And I did not.
When? Let them prove it. I mean, when did you take the leave? Can you find records? Okay, from when?
Yeah, so I hired on in December of '89, and they told me that I took a leave of absence from 1990 to 1993.
Okay.
So
that would be easy. Can you show any records during that time of paychecks?
I can't, because the payroll company that they used they've gone through a couple payroll departments, so they said it went to microfiche.
No, I'm asking you if you have any records.
No, I had direct deposit, so I don't have any records from back then, which I would recommend everybody.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You have the IRS.
Well,
the IRS, they should have somewhere you would have a W-2.
But, well, this is true. I don't have the money to pay the IRS for each of my transcripts.
What are you talking about? Come on. We're talking about this is a major deal. This is retirement. Yeah, and it's not going to be that much.
I've also jumped through other hoops, and I paid for a certified copy from Social Security and sent that to them. They've had that since May.
Wait, a certified copy of what? Your donations?
Of my income.
Does it show coming from that company?
Yes, it does.
Well, then that's it.
Well, I know. They've had it since May, and so
you know what,
I've gone,
okay, what company is this?
It's Kaiser.
And how much? How does this affect you?
How does this affect me?
Yeah, how does it affect you? Directly.
Well, I have 4 years less of my pension.
How much? I mean, how much does it literally affect you? I don't know. I don't want to fight for $3 a week. I just want to know.
Monetarily, it's thousands. I don't know the exact amount.
It would be good to know, so you can sue if you need to.
Well, that's what I want to do. I don't.
You may not have to though, because I hate. Look, we have people here. You hear me say, give this to Deputy Dan, give this to so and so, give this to so and so. This is right up Daphne's tree, and I'll tell you why. Because this is the thing. This is the thing about those personality traits that can be both positive and negative. Well,
yes.
This is one that Daphne has, and I call it woodpeckering, and it's something that is an art. That
I like it.
If she grabs onto it, they will deal with it. So hold on, and we are going to copy down your information, and we're going to have Daphne on it, okay? Hold on. I'm out of time. TheRaleighHouse.com. They're at 720-893-5559. And remember, you find them on the referral list. Thanks for being here. Save all your problems for me.
Nothing is more important than your health.
Well, that was fun. Yeah, her pension, if she's got, I didn't realize Social Security says where it came from. That's cut and dry. Unless they say she was a contractor over that. No, you're right. They wouldn't have taken off. You're right.
Did she say how old she was? Carries a lifetime warranty on all parts.
Did she say what? How old she was? No, why?
Just curious. I see this happening a lot with people as they get older, obviously. They start to lose their faculties and their drive and their enthusiasms. It's more difficult to, like the things that we see as a task, it's like just make a phone call. It trips them up and it's hard. My dad goes through it.
But she sent this to them. She got the Social Security stuff and sent that to them, and they're not acting on it.
Yeah.
But I can't believe it wouldn't be cut and dry.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. It might take a while. Would that be employment? One of the employment attorneys would take care